see if you can hear yourself in that.
All right.
I try talking to the front of the microphone, is my understanding of it. You don't have to put it like right in your mouth.
Yeah.
That's about good. There you go.
All right.
It's on.
Check 1, 2. Yep.
Okay, good. Half a second here. I was going to go on to my phone and see that the stream
Yep.
started back up. The studio page. Okay, I can hear myself. I'm going to be getting a tablet soon, so I can stuff. We want to link it up to the projector and stuff like that.
Right. So you run this place?
I don't own it. No, but I am the day-to-day operator of
Okay.
here. Richard is my employer and the boss and owner. He's a really great guy. He does a lot for the community. He really believes in entrepreneurship and employing as many people as he can.
It's not Richard Bell, is it?
It's Richard Scott.
Oh, okay. And if you guys want to smoke or do it all, it doesn't bother me. I only said that because maybe Mark or Bill didn't want to. I don't give a shit. My friends and family all smoke weed, so,
That's good.
Awesome.
be as
awesome.
normal as the podcast normally is.
Thank you, brother.
Just, if you pass it to me, I'll say no.
Are we streaming now? Or
I'm looking to see. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I've got us up here live, so I'm going to try and share that to Facebook and stuff. And then if you want, you can grab it from my Facebook and share it to your Facebook.
oh yeah, absolutely. We'll cut this out, by the way.
Oh, it doesn't bother me.
Cool.
This is normal. This
sweet.
is not like, I know I dressed up a little too much, but
I wore my my sweater.
Okay,
I like
what
it.
was your name again?
my name's Tally. Tali.
T-A-L-I.
Yeah.
And your last name?
Campbell. Campbell.
C-A-M-P-B-E-L-L.
Yep.
Okay, that went to my Facebook, and I'll just dump it onto the Studio 420 page as well. I'm looking for a sound guy who sits over there and then does all of this stuff while we get going,
Yeah.
right? Finding people who want to work for weed.
Might be some VIU students up there.
Yeah, I got to re-go. I applied for their whole through their webpage thing, and they told me my information wasn't correct. And if I told them it was the Nanaimo Cannabis Club, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Right? I think they just denied me based on that. So I'm going to
Right.
start putting posters up or something, right?
Maybe hit up the vault. There's some people down there who volunteer lots.
Yeah, it was a liberal hotbed. I just,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, I was just like, I'm a card-carrying conservative.
Yeah.
But I am actually more of a libertarian. I just, oh, there we go. I want to be able to vote in this conservative leadership election,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I'm just going to share this to Studio 420, and then we'll actually start going off about some stuff. I'll get you to just tell me a few things, and then I'll ask you questions
Yep.
as we go. And then hopefully Matt is sending you the link.
Yes.
Bell.
I'd also love to have a conversation about this place as well. Because
Of
obviously I'm
course.
going to share the link afterwards, and I'm sure a
Absolutely.
lot of, people who are on my Facebook would love to know.
Well, we are really big into gentrification.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see if this all linked up properly then, and we'll get going. And then hopefully I'll start to have people converse with me through private messenger or on the stream. We're working on that too. Eventually we want to link phone calls in.
That's awesome.
Okay, yeah, and here we go. I've actually got this on with my volume down, so we're a couple seconds behind, but I can now see myself. I think we're all good to go. So it's Telly Campbell, and you're with the Yes Camp on the Nanaimo Event Center, right?
Yeah.
And I lived in Nanaimo. I went to the to Malsapina University when I was 18 for culinary arts, and then again for a few other things, and then lived here for a couple of years. Moved away for a little, like 7-8 years, and now I've just moved back in September, right? And when I actually worked at Acme, when it had a roof and walls and such like that. I'd even been in the AMB sound and everything like that. So some things have changed since then, right? I used to live beside the Globe when it was a strip club. A lot of the city landscape has changed since I lived here, and I'm just coming back into this town and hearing about this event center. And there's a lot of people saying yes and a lot of people saying no. So why do you think that's going to be the best thing for?
Well, maybe before we start, we should give a little bit of a quick background of what's going on with the event center, just in case some people are like, what's happening?
Matt, you know about this or?
Basically, there is a proposal to build an event center or a hockey arena, essentially.
Event center.
Event center. Okay, we'll use the word event center. And I use the word hockey arena, by the way, in a complimentary way because I'm a big hockey fan. But having an event center in the downtown core. Originally, two proposed locations were discussed, where the Howard Johnson sits right now, and also where it is now being proposed to be built, which is across the street from Port Place Mall at
Port Drive Land. Yep.
Port Drive Land. So basically, because here in the city of Nanaimo, if the city wants to borrow a certain amount of money, it has to go to public referendum, and you have to ask the city or the people in the city to basically have a vote. So that's where we're at now. There's a referendum to decide whether or not the city is going to borrow the money. It's about approximately $80 million.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you. To build it, and if it goes through, it's been said in the media by Councillor Bill Bestwick that it's all but guaranteed we're going to have a WHL team, one way or the other here in Nanaimo. So we'll have a continual tenant, hopefully, and that's basically where we're standing now. Also, with the particular referendum, just to give a little bit more background information, the campaigns, it has gotten a little bit heated at times. With a lot of money. Nanaimo's a political hotbed anyway with its local community. They have a very engaged community one way or the other. And it's definitely drawn some lines in the sand, which is kind of unfortunate. But it's a political hotbed topic in Nanaimo, though.
Yep. So as you were saying, the referendum is asking the question on March 11th or March 1st and 8th when the advanced polling is the Vancouver Conference Center for the borrowing of $80 million.
That's a lot of money.
Which is a lot of money, which of course, between, they're saying about 65 and 70 million towards the actual event center, and then approximately $9 to $11 million towards the sewage plant and the roads and the downtown walkway area.
I heard between 65 and 100 million was the projected amount, just from what I read on the one site.
Yeah, we're going to read a lot of things on Facebook.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
And even, even some of the no guys believe that the things we're reading from the city of Nanaimo and the studies are lies as well. So, unfortunately, we got to sometimes do our own research the best we can. We have to listen to the threads that are on Facebook and the conversations that we have here and other media forums. And hopefully, by March 11th or whichever day you decide to vote, March 1st or 8th, you make an informed decision that, you'll like.
Yeah, so, I'm just creating a group of chat.
We should say too, just while Tyson shares the link or whatever. Like I'll say right now, like or while you do that, I'll just say like I personally speaking, I've kind of stayed out of the whole discussion since the get go. I'm still kind of on the fence one way or the other, and I'll say why. I mean, I'm a hockey fan. I'm a pro wrestling fan. I love the UFC. I hate having to travel to other towns or other cities like Vancouver or Victoria to go watch those types of events. I love the idea of having a WHL team in our city. I think that the building an event center downtown is needed and necessary to revitalize downtown Nanaimo. I totally see the point in public money going towards that because I believe it's needed infrastructure for the city. But I just need more information. I don't know why. I keep asking, and
And that's been part of our plan as well, is trying to get the information out there as best as possible. I mean, the business plan came out late last night, I think around 6 p.m. On the city website. I think it's 58 pages long. A lot of reading to do on a business plan. And biggest thing is, if you don't understand business plans, those are hard to read.
Absolutely.
I'm lucky enough to own my own business, so I can somewhat understand a plan. But my best friends who don't understand a plan, who, may still be on the fence of whether they're voting, they're having a hard time reading that. So these kind of forums engage people and, let them understand, because there's things that I don't understand too in these studies. I'm not big on what's under the ground and whatnot, and I have a hard time reading those reports and whatnot. So I listen to forums and listen to media and ask my friends who might be more engaged in such. So hey, what does that mean?
Before we get into the meat and potatoes too, I just have one on a personal level too, and I gotta say, like and you're a part of the Yes group basically.
Yep.
Apparently people are really excuse my French, jerks assholes to you online, making threats to you and whatnot. Whatever you're comfortable discussing, but can you share a little bit about what's going on with how
it seems a little fucked
and
up.
It seems like it's calmed down now, like you were
Yes.
saying. It has calmed down. It's an understanding's been reached. But what led up to all of that?
Yeah, so when obviously, as we talked about, now being a political hot seat, and so when this referendum kind of got brought up and council moved it towards the borrowing $80 million, whatnot, I started the Yes campaign, and that's when the floodgates were open. As a lot of times you have to understand that in the political life or in the public life that these things might happen. What you don't expect or even clue in or understand or want to understand is the bullying, the harassing, the shaming, So I was out with my nephews on occasions. I was downtown enjoying my friend's birthday party. I was shopping, and I'd have people come up to me and have a conversation, which I love, engaging, until it would get nasty. I was called things like a dumbass, a faggot, an idiot. At one point, someone threatened to kill me, showed up at my former employers, and thankfully,
God.
we dealt with the RCMP and they dealt with it right away, and we've had understanding with the No Vote Society 2017, Bill Manners and Don Bonner and Blake McGuffey, that bullying and shaming is not part of this debate. We can get heated and we can get emotional because it's our city, but at the end of the day, we're all doing it for the same reason. We love our city. That's it. March the 12th, we're all going to wake up with that same thing. We love our city, whether we have an event center or not. Obviously, some are going to be happy, some are going to be mad, but at the same time, we have that same notion. We love our city. So, as I was saying to you before we came on the air, it's gotten better. People are being more respectful because both sides are not allowing those comments anymore. We're deleting them right away, getting rid of them, blocking people, banning people. It's not for that. I'm all for dialogue. I'm all for conversation. If I'm sitting Tim Hortons, you see me, come on, have a conversation, and I'll respect everything you say as long as you respect everything I say. And if you walk away saying thank you, but I'm voting no, awesome. I'm glad that you're voting.
We're supposed to be polite
Absolutely.
in Canada, right?
Yes.
That's our stereotype. We're polite. The other day, I was relating the story where a gentleman cut me off from Washington, and I pulled up and bitched at him through the window, and I said the word fuck, and then afterwards I was like, now I apologize, and you have a nice day. Right? So he's going to go back to Washington and be like, yeah, I cut a Canadian guy off, and he in one sentence told me to fuck off, and then the next then apologized and told me to have a nice day. We were supposed to be a polite country of people or whatever. So it's sad when the discourse breaks down to that point. Right. I think it's a heated topic because there's a lot going on in Nanaimo. You've got safe injection sites. You've got a downtown core that's falling to pieces. And so a lot of people are interested in finding out how is this arena going to help solve these problems, right? Are we going to need a safe injection site at the arena along with the one at the fucking
Well, they have a permanent site now.
A permanent site. Does it still close at 7 o'clock? Because that's about the time.
Well, I mean, I don't really want to get into the safe injection talk today, but at the same time, you got to say they did more in the short amount of time just popping up a tent than VHA was doing.
And big kudos to VIU student Jeremy Calicum, City Councilor Gord Fuller, and Jim Kipp, and all those volunteers that came out for that. It's something that the city needed and still needs. And I know it's not a conversation we're having, but I agree with you. The closing at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever time they do close, really?
Yeah.
Come on.
I think they did the best they could, but it's kind of defeated the...
Yeah. So, I mean, this is why we end up having these this very heated debate over this is you're wondering, the Romans did things like build arenas when they wanted to distract people from things they were doing, right? So you're wondering, is this an appropriate solution to some of the problems that Nanaimo has as a city, right? I guess a lot of people want to know if that money would be better spent elsewhere or if maybe the money that the event center is supposed to bring in is going to help kickstart a rebuilding of downtown, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always said since day one, I don't believe this is the solution to fix Nanaimo. I think it's a solution in the right direction. There's a lot that has to happen in downtown Nanaimo, and we were chatting with AMB Sound Old Building. That something's got to do to that building. The one across for it that just had a fire. A year ago almost, I think it is. Something's got to happen there as well. So, I don't think this is the solution. It is a solution to help revitalize the downtown area, along with creating jobs, along with creating tourism, creating entertainment. I went to University of Victoria for a reason. I got accepted at VIU, I got accepted at BCIT and UVic, and I chose, obviously I'm accepted at all schools, the same programs basically. the next question was, where can I find a part-time job? I can't have a full-time job. I need a part-time job. So people who say part-time jobs are ridiculous, they're not. We have students in this town. We have other people in this town who need a part-time job. So I was looking at a part-time job, and I was also looking for the entertainment sector.
Yeah.
I want to have some fun. I'm 19, 20. I want to go have some fun as well. So that's why I chose University of Victoria, because I had a part-time job there with the hockey team down in Victoria, and I had a lot of fun. I got to go to the Royals games down there, as a customer. I got to enjoy concerts that were down there. So, again, you have to think about as well, is this, I don't think, is the solution. I think it is a solution in the right step, but we cannot just focus on this event center. While we're doing the event center talk, we have to be focusing on the overdose issue. We have to focus on the issues that are downtown with parking. You got to focus on the issues of the buildings that are not being used.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why Matt was there as well, and that walk the other day that Jeremy and the guys put on for the drug overdoses.
Really well done.
And I'm part of the bar scene downtown Nanaimo, and I'm trying to encourage all of the bars down there to get onto program to learn about this program, how they can help as well. Same as the Bar Watch program did many years ago to save people from the drinks and whatnot. So again, it is
Save them
a
from
step.
themselves.
Yeah, it is a step in the right direction. It's not the step, and we have a lot of steps to become the step.
I have some questions coming in over the chat group we formed. Actually, I sent you guys invites to the chat group too, and you can actually get other people to join it. So Kevon, that's how it's pronounced. He works up at Harewood Herbals. He's asking, is there going to be monster truck events and motocross or bands there, or is it more like an arena such as hockey and field hockey and soccer and whatnot? So he's wondering what they mean by multiplex or event center.
It's a fantastic question. So as we were alluding to, the main tenant will be the WHL, that will house approximately 40 nights a year, but there's a lot more to that. There is going to be motocross. There's going to be monster trucks. There's going to be Harlem Globetrotters. There's going to be comedian shows. There's going to be community events. There's going to be minor hockey inside there, minor lacrosse. So when we say multiplex, we mean everything. We're going to have approximately 8,000 seats for concerts, and upward, which is fantastic for bands that go to like Save on Foods, Lamy Event Center, etc. So this multiplex is a community gathering. Whether you like sports, whether you like arts and culture, entertainment, whatever it might be, it's going to be in this center.
Okay, well now, so it's going to be doing all of these things now. If I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Encana Event Center in Dawson Creek, right? Apparently, and I lived in Dawson, didn't go to concerts there, but other people I know did. The sound in there was horrendously bad because of the shape of the building. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be this multi-event center. I went to gun shows there, actually. We purchased some firearms. It was quite enjoyable. Yeah. But I never actually went to a concert, and the sound was just the shit, right? And from what I'm looking at of these concept drawings of this thing, it looks like a committee designed this event center and just went down a checklist of cultural sensitivity and what it doesn't. It looks like it's a lot more form than function from this exterior drawing.
Yeah, and that is a worry, but I'm confident enough that these event centers are well known in Canada now, and Western Canada especially, that we can learn from other mistakes that have been made and not make our own. You look at Frank Crane Arena, for example. Their acoustics in there are terrible, and that's why nothing happens there, because they are terrible. And that was a mistake the city made a long time ago. You look at Bevan Park Pool, Bevan Park Pool. It's a meter short to be an Olympic swing pool. A meter. We couldn't figure out a meter?
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
Okay. How about it's now it's not the Encana one. It is the Pomeroy Sports Complex in Fort St. John, where they were going to do the Olympic speed skating training track, and it was still uncompleted after the Olympics were done, and it wouldn't even qualify because the oval was not the right length. Right, and so they have a walking track there, and then had to get a corporate bailout. That's why it's the Encana Event Center and the Pomeroy Sports Center, because they turned out to just be giant city-run boondoggles that needed corporate bailouts in the end, and did not fulfill their original.
Yeah, so let's say we vote yes on March the 11th. This yes committee does not go away. This yes committee is going to be the voice to make sure these things happen and we stay on budget and the community is promised. All these yes people are on board. They are property taxpayers as well. They are like the no voters as well. We just have different mindsets of how we want our city to go forward. So we're going to be that voice at council saying, hey, you promised this. You said this. This is what's in your business plan. This is this. This is. We're going to be that voice to make sure this event center is what it says to be. I want to raise my family here. I'm 21 years old. I don't want to be moving out of Nanaimo. I have 5 nephews right now who all live in Nanaimo. I want them to all be growing up here, going to school here, having their families here. So I'm not quitting, say, March 12th, when the yes maybe, if it's a yes vote. I'm not quitting. I'm continuing on right until the event center opens and until the day that I die in Nanaimo.
Okay, that's a very well said. I have questions coming up again through the chat about.
Yep.
So we mentioned all these events that cannot possibly be done in the event center. So is that just hypothetical events, or have we has somebody gone and asked people who do motocross and asked people who
Well,
do
it'd be way
and
too
gotten
Well,
earthworms?
That's a yes and no question. So hypothetically, yes. What you base that on is standards. So certain venues have to have certain standards to hold a WHL team, for example. Have to have certain standards to hold a soccer game or a motocross or whatever it may be. So that is hypothetical in some sense. I have personally contacted. I was a former promoter. I used to promote local shows here in Nanaimo with bands that had 800 people come and watch them. So I've contacted those who also have higher bands. Billy Talent was recently in the Abbotsford Event Center. We asked him, would you come to Nanaimo with an event center? Absolutely. So hypothetical, yes. Is the research set in place and the know-abouts to make sure that these events can hold these certain activities, whether it be motocross, skating, sports, etc., yes, they're going to be set in place so they can happen, but it will be the job of the event management company to get those places. And again, that's where we come into factor and say, hey, we guaranteed this venue is going to have at least 80 days of the year busy. We know there's 40 with hockey. We have 40 more to do. Let's do this.
This is actually something that I want to quickly pipe in and actually, because you just touched upon who would manage the arena. I believe that a lot of the problems in Nanaimo, and I do not want to compare the event center with the conference center because I don't think that they are really comparable arguments. However, with the whole management aspect of the city putting properties like this, who they choose to manage. I mean, this is just a personal opinion. I believe the conference center was mismanaged for years, and that's one of the reasons why it's in the conundrum it's in. I don't really think they were winning a battle they could have won no matter what. But management's a big thing. Who would you suggest to have run a hypothetical event center in Nanaimo?
Yeah, and me personally, I would want to suggest a company that is already established in BC that already runs an event center itself. So whether that be the South Auckland Event Center with that company up there who also run the Abbotsford Event Center, because what you get then is synergy as well. So you got Billy Talent who's coming on a tour. He's looking to book in a couple events. There is worry that Save On Foods might take all these events that are coming. So the big thing for that is, hey, let's get this company who it's a one call for the managed company. Say, hey, we're coming to the BC. We want to do a show. Awesome. We got 3 venues. We got 2 venues that we can put you at. We got one in Penticton. We got one in Nanaimo. Bam,
that's
here
a
you
solid
go.
argument.
And that company also runs a conference center too in Penticton. That again, they go hand in hand together, help each other out. Because they can again, work on which area is better to use, whether it be the conference center or the events there. Now, this is all hypothetical. This is nothing from the city. This is just Tally's personal opinion on what he would do if it was his building, But I would say, you gotta run a management company that is established in the event center business, and I think that already has 1 or 2 different things, different centers already in Western Canada.
And I like that too. The idea of synergy amongst that makes sense to me because once again I'm on the fence, but at that I'm looking for logic and reason, and just like when we have people from the know, I'm going to be looking for logic and reason, and that's logical to me. The idea of having a management, assuming hypothetically we would get a proper management company that would have that network with other events. So if you're doing a Canadian or North American tour and you're looking for those secondary markets, you're going to look to Nanaimo just because it's within that. That makes sense to me. That makes business sense.
Yes.
So I've got some questions coming through on the chat. One of them is in regards to how we're going to be directing funding towards this. Yet they've cut the funding from the Nanaimo Youth Employment Center and how that's supposed to a community resource. So we're losing community resources on one end, and then this is going to create jobs.
Unfortunately, that's incorrect. The Nanaimo Youth Services Association is provincially funded.
Okay.
I am 100% behind that association. I've used that association before. I believe that council needs to step up and support the association at a provincial level and tell our MLA Leonard Krogh that, hey, they need the funding for this employment center. I think it's ridiculous that it's closing the end of this month, and I'm going to keep fighting for it not to be closed. I've sent an email to our MLA already. I've sent an email to mayor and council saying that this cannot happen. And I've said in the thread before on Facebook that let's do something to make sure this doesn't happen. So to correct that is provincial funding that comes there. So that's the provincial government, the Liberals, or as our MLA is Leonard Krogh, NDP, who've cut that funding. It's ridiculous. It should not be happening. And I am in full support of trying to get that funding back at a provincial level, but at the same time getting mayor and council support saying, hey, this is needed in Nanaimo.
So that leads me to, that actually segues me to another thing about youth employment and the creation of jobs here. Is we have a terrific trade school up at the Vancouver Island University. My brother graduated from that, and he's now gone on to become a Red Seal welder and such. So what sort of partnership is there going to be with the college and with ensuring that say local people get hired first, or that they look for hiring out of the college from the graduating classes of tradesmen there to ensure that,
in terms of construction?
Yeah, in terms of construction.
I can't comment too much on the construction of it all because I don't know too much. But again, I'll be fighting to make sure these are local jobs. I'm fighting on local jobs. 705 full-time jobs for 2 years. They better be local. And the only way they're not going to be local is if Nanaimo may not offer that service. And I'll be pushing right since day one on March the 12th, when if we vote yes, that needs to be local jobs. We need to be using VIU graduated students, residents in Nanaimo who are paying the property taxes, and people fight that, 705, short-term jobs,
That's food
construction,
on the table. I firmly believe that's food on the table for a family.
And construction is a short-term job every time. We build this building, it's short-term. It's a company's job, whether it be whoever company we decide to hire for different projects, to continue the work for those people. But when you got 705 full-time jobs in construction, that is food on the table. That is an income coming in. And hopefully that, gives them skills to go on beyond and work somewhere else in Nanaimo on a different thing, a new condo that might be getting built downtown, or hotel, or whatever it might be.
Well, I know my brother works up north and did so right out of college because there was a lack of welding jobs in this area, right? There's, even 2 years of 700 full-time jobs in the construction industry gives a person a chance to work through 2 years of an apprenticeship, or follow it out so that they can go out on their own or build up back. Because a lot of people don't realize, like I saw a meme the other day about the gist of it was, well, I'm not going to work if I have to pay to get to, or some shit like that. And then there was a picture of a mechanic below that with all of his tools, which they have to buy themselves, going, fucking pardon, sort of thing.
So it's great you bring up north. My family, a lot of my family works up north right now, and it scares the crap out of me because these are Nanaimo residents who are leaving. They're going, I'm working up north. I had my sister and her two children at the time and her husband move up north to work and live. And it's like, no, get back to Nanaimo, Yeah. And it's like, well, there's no jobs to sustain us right here. There's no fun for the kids, Like these are my nephews who at the time were 7 and 4, and she's looking towards their future, and that scares me. I have best friends who right now who are looking out in Nanaimo to go work. And it's like, that scares me. We need people to stay in Nanaimo. We need people to grow their families and raise their families in Nanaimo and have jobs in Nanaimo who, again, whether it be the culinary arts, the construction, the arts and entertainment, we need all these jobs to build a community.
Yeah, because it's money stimulates your economy. Like I took some economics in college, and the translation is like every $100 that gets paid out in wages in the community turns into like $1,000 worth of your local GDP or whatever it is. So this is important. That's why the temporary foreign worker program is so devastating to a lot of industries, right? And it is what kept our wages artificially low for so long, and now they think they're going to fix it with a mandatory minimum wage. I mean, Jesus Christ, we're going to be handing our tickets in at this event center to a robot if the mandatory minimum wage thing keeps going through. Right. But that's a little bit off topic. I've got a few. Let's refer back to a few of the comments through the conversation. Those that I've got people are voting. No, there was questions about. So there's proposed locations. For the event center. They want to know which buildings we'd be taking down or which areas these would be going in, because it would make the most sense to put something where there's already like a dilapidated, broken building. Although people had commented about. Perhaps revitalizing Bevan Park, or how this is going to affect the area that surrounds it, like how much is going to be put in building and how much is going to be put
when this proposal came forward, there were 2 locations, the Howard Johnson location and then obviously the Port Drive location.
Okay, now clarify to me the Howard Johnson location really quick.
Yeah, so the Howard Johnson location was my proposed ideas on there, where they would tear down the hotel and the old Tally-Ho, build it there, and then build a new hotel with it. That property we do not own, though, so we have to pay for it to the Howard Johnson company. So council made a decision that it was the Port Drive location, which is right across from Port Place Mall. Right now, the area is kind of industrial. It looks like crap. And I think yes and no people
it's like
can
a railroad
both,
yard.
Both can agree something has to be done there, whether it be an event center or not. Something's got to be done, because right now, I did an interview there a week and a half ago, and we were stepping over needles. And we were stepping over garbage.
I've got this around this building. We're trying to gentrify this area. One of the things we're going to start doing once we get more clients through Studio 420 is try and solicit some donations to do an initiative to clean up some of these lots around here. and everything like that. But we have to kick. I've got a Naboxone kit over there, and we are a members-only club so that we don't have people overdosing in our bathroom, right? But that's a problem with Mambo's Pizza.
Yep.
All those downtown businesses have to watch who they let use their washroom because you're there to fucking serve food and stuff like that, and you don't want to have to be dragging a half-dead guy out of your bathroom and fucking stabbing him in the chest, Pulp Fiction style. Right, it's unfortunate.
So that's the idea. People will talk about why the downtown, and this is the reason why I think downtown. Downtown should be the heart and hub of your city. And it is for Nanaimo. I work in the nightclub business, and this again, I've called Victoria, their nightclubs and their hotels and their restaurants, and say what kind of things happen after an event. They get busier. They have to hire more staff to come in. You want to be able to go downtown, park 5 minutes away, walk and look at the local shops, maybe do some window shopping. I love window shopping. Maybe get a bite to eat at one of the local restaurants down there. Hit up the show, hit up the WHL hockey game, whatever it might be. Then, hey, great game. Matt scored 3 goals tonight, and he got a hat trick, and we're all excited. The game won. We're now going for whether it be a bite to eat or an appy, or now we're going for drinks afterwards. So that's the reason. I don't want it to be out in Jinglepot Road.
Going to one of our local cannabis establishments.
Yeah, potentially.
Exactly.
Go to the weed bar afterwards.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to be in Jinglepot where you go there, you get in your car, you go, then you head home.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, our downtown core definitely needs that money. A lot of people don't. Okay, I've got people talking about 80 million and stuff like that. I was going back to local economy, where if you pay an employee $100, by the time he gets paid and spends it through the community with other businesses, it turns into potentially $1,000 through your community. This is the whole point. So if they built this arena downtown and you have 750 jobs for 2 years, the idea is that people who have paid to go to the college or will now pay to go to the college because they realize this is going through, so they spend their year in college and come out potentially being an apprentice, and rather than leaving town, they go to our local carpenters union, and then they start working on this. They get their paycheck, they pay their rent, or they buy their house locally, or theoretically we start to have a housing shortage because we have people with good trades jobs.
Yep.
So then they need to build more houses, which in turn employs more tradespeople, right, to take care of the housing shortage, and it creates more local jobs. That's how you get a local job boom, and then they spend their money in their communities at our local grocery stores and such who need to pay people. This is how you boost your economy locally without artificially raising your minimum wage, right? Is you disseminate money into your own community through jobs. Right, so there's the $80 million is part of it is spent on materials, part of it is spent on wages, which then have a stimulating effect. And what happens is then you have a shortage of restaurants, so somebody starts to rent these empty spaces we have downtown, opens up restaurants, open up businesses, because you're going to have an influx. If you're building it downtown, the lunch hour with 700 people working on this thing is going to go fucking insane, right? And then you're going to have people like Pirate Chips just acquired a food truck. They're going to have other businesses who start to do things like are able to buy food trucks that they can park in the parking lot of this arena while it's being built over the period. So this is how money disseminates through a community and revitalizes it when you spend $80 million on a public works project, right? So long as it doesn't turn into a boondoggle like the previous mentioned Encana things, which are not really doing what they said they would do, and the Fort St. John walking track, which generates, it's a booster juice with a walking track. So you said there's so many days a year of guaranteed hockey, and so many days. What about the in between time? Like, how are the local community going to have access to this during is there going to be like Pee Wee hockey teams
so
and such?
we've I've had conversations with the Nanaimo Hockey Association, who are all on board for this event center. You can check out their website. It says they're in favor of the event center. I've had conversations myself, being a former lacrosse player. I have conversations with the Minor Lacrosse Association, and they're all going to be able to use this center. There are going to be community fun days where there are learn to skate programs inside there, community skate days where you're, like we do at Franklin Arena right now, grab the skates, let's do some glow bowling, glow skating, not bowling. That'd be kind of cool. But anyways, so there'll be a walking track inside the event center that will be accessed every single day. If the conditions outside are gross or you don't want to go walk Westwood or wherever it be, you can walk inside. So it's gonna be accessible, 362 days of the year, whatever it might be, minus Christmas and whatnot.
Okay.
So it is a community center. It is a community gathering, whether it be for minor sports, whether it be for semi-professional hockey, whether it be for concerts, whether it be for conferences,
So there's plans
trade
to
shows.
be food vendors in there?
There will be concessions. So how any event center currently works right now, and how ours will work as well. So to help operating costs, we're going to do a naming rights sponsor. So someone will take the naming rights, just like Save on Foods Memorial Center. Then there'll also be leasing opportunities outside the building, just like Conference Center has, so whether a Serious Coffee wants to go down there, I know Save on Foods Memorial Center has Shaw Television.
What
and
about food trucks? Like I was saying, are you going to allow
Oh.
people to get food?
I think here in Nanaimo, food trucks are probably a separate issue. So
they would be a separate issue.
difficult
And again,
to,
I'm not the property manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will I support a food truck? Like, yes, absolutely. Let's create something down there. They're extending the walkway down there as well. It's part of the $11 million that's going towards the roads and the sewages, is to put that
Yeah.
walkway, put a new washroom down there to make it, again, a community
So
gathering.
maybe there could be an argument made to have an area in the parking lot designated for that,
Yep.
with the proper hookups and everything,
Yep.
and then to have turns or like bought for because it supports local businesses.
Yeah.
and
we
stuff.
should actually talk about parking quickly though, because this is one thing, especially with that particular either location. There's not much parking in downtown Nanaimo, especially the type of ideal parking. One thing that when I went to one of the open houses put on by the city of Nanaimo for the event center. With the parking, I noticed they were mentioned with the number that they were using for number of parking spaces that were currently available in Nanaimo. A lot of them were just the residential homes and park in their front. And I don't really think that would be feasible for a large scale, like for a hockey game that's sold out or for
Yep.
a concert that's sold out. You almost need like parking spaces in a parking
So,
area.
I agree with the parking area. Victoria does not have many parking spots.
That's true.
Everett has 0 parking spots. South Long Event Center has a few parking spots. Kelowna has very little parking spots. Parking is using land, land that we could be using food trucks on. Land. I do believe parking is, of course, a huge thing. We need a better transit system in town so that people can get from North Nanaimo to here to watch a show and have a few drinks and, again, go to the clubs and be able to get home afterwards. There will be an announcement coming in the coming days that we learned last night on the radio station that we were before, that the Port Authority will be coming out with their own parking plan.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a private option. Maybe Ralph and Jerry at Port Place Mall, the owner's First Capital Realty, decide to extend their parkade and charge $10.
That's a good
that happens
point.
a lot in communities where private people come forward. I'm not saying I like it, but maybe A&B Sound finally gets taken down and we put a parkade there. Again, not saying I like it, but just giving some opportunities and thoughts to what could potentially happen. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, parking's an issue. They're saying that there are going to be 100 spots for accessibility, and obviously VIP and whatnot spots for people coming in. But I don't think it's a major issue. It's something that I think it has been already talked about. It can be done. I'm a big believer that you can go to Save on Foods Memorial Center. I park 10 minutes away because I don't like the rush afterwards. And then I go down and I walk and I pass the shops and maybe I'll buy something. Maybe I'll stop in a pub. Everyone's not like me though. Some people like to park close. I got a friend who pays the $10 at Save on Foods Memorial Center so he can be right close. He's going to walk very far. And there will be those options, I believe.
And I mean, you do make an extremely good point to the fact that Save on Foods Arena in Victoria, the parking lot really isn't that big. It's
Everett's got 0.
When you start to seriously think about it,
Yes.
I've never had a problem parking when I'm going to
And
a concert in
we're
Victoria.
using approximately 3 acres of 26.7 acres down there in Wilcox Road.
Okay.
Land. So there is a lot of availability the Port Authority has. So I don't know too much about the announcement the Port Authority is going to be making the other day. It was said on the radio station last night that they're going to be making one regarding parking. So I can't comment too much on that. I can't say, yes, they're building a 10-story parkade or whatever. I don't know. All I know is that they have said that they have something in mind that they're going to announce very soon before the referendum that will ease some people's parking. And I've
makes
had
sense.
conversations with Jerry and Ralph at First Capital Realty who own Port Place Mall. And there's potential for them to look into building their parkade up and charge $10 a night
it
for that.
makes money for them.
Yes.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And that would be more job creation and construction. And then,
and just to go back, I don't want A&B Sound to turn into a
No,
parkade.
no.
I'd love it to be
No.
like a Denny's or something, 24 hours a night.
Big time.
yeah.
But anyways, yes.
Oh, but I mean,
Maybe the one across the street.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know. There's different styles of buildings. You could always have upper level parking with lower level restaurants or whatever.
Yep.
Although I noticed the big trend in places is to put downtown condos above like vending services and almost make self-sufficient shit. I mean, 100 years down the road, you're going to have the mega city ones from Judge Dredd enclosed apartment buildings.
Yeah,
Right.
I am favor for a new condo going downtown once the event center is built. Something like the Cameron Island, what they have down there.
Yeah.
Cameron Island pays approximately $1 million in property tax a year. If we build another condo like that down there, because it's revitalized, it's safer to be down there. It's more fun, whatever it might be. That again potentially could be a stimulus of $1 million in property taxes.
Well,
So
see, that's why an event center downtown does make sense
Yes.
to me
Yeah.
on paper, just because we need it downtown, especially with the fire at the old Acme building or the Gene Burns building. We need something.
Well, you do need a draw to get people to want to revitalize those burnt out
Exactly.
buildings,
And
right?
so many shoot-off projects could come off the event center.
You need to
Because
have
you look at this in
people coming
business sense.
downtown.
Why would the owners of that building that got burnt down want to rebuild so fast? If there was demand and there was a need for it, they'd have done it so fast.
Nanaimo is so goddamn
Absolutely.
long already. People keep building north
Yes.
and building north, and we're eating Lance'ville, and it's just a very long city. And then there's all of this bullshit. There's all these like this area is trying to rebuild itself. There's an unusual amount of pergolas in this neighborhood for the unusual amount of crackheads and drug people, right? And it's not the drug people who own the pergolas. There are like these people who are trying to have really normal lives existing next to some really horrendous shit in and around this area. And I mean, some people are on drugs because they have drug problems, but other people are just on drugs because they have a lack of employment. There's a lot of people out there who, if you put a tool in either hand, they have no hands left to do drugs, or at least no hands left to do drugs to the point where they are living on the street. Like I when I lived in Nanaimo in the downtown area years ago, even when I had my own drug problem and such, I did not notice the amount of just straight up homeless people living the way they are, right?
Big time.
And a lot of the way to solve these problems is to build up these areas. Like Harewood, the Harewood Mall used to be the goddamn dirt mall when I went to college, right? That was the dirt mall, and you didn't go there.
Yeah.
And they are slowly doing the gentrification of Harewood into this college-like community, and it is working out nice. Like I lived up in the Eagle Heights condos because crime is lower uphill.
Yeah.
That is a fact. Like criminals do not want to walk uphill to steal your shit. They will steal your shit downhill. So that is coming along nicely up there. And Harewood's actually a sort of place where people want to be out at night. I mean,
I love
stuff-
Harewood.
Only they can
Right.
get.
I went to school in
King
Harewood.
Arthur's
I lived in
Heart,
Harewood.
You know?
I've lived here most of the time. I've lived in Nanaimo, and I'm proud.
Yeah, love John Barsby, and I lived just by 7th Street for most of my life. So
Well, I've got people commenting
Nice.
on why don't we make a safe place for the homeless people to go? And when you create jobs, you do create a safe job for them to go to, and then they have money, and then they buy homes, and then
Yeah.
you can't tell homeless people
I'm just-
from employed and homed people because they have jobs and homes.
yeah, I'm going to comment on that. Why don't build something, like a homeless shelter, whatnot. And I had this conversation with the entire Yes Committee, and we're all in favor of supporting these different initiatives. We're not here just to say we're supporting event center. As soon as it goes through, we're done. We have other issues. That's why a lot of us were at the walk the other day. That's why a lot of us volunteer the 710 Club breakfast once a month. So we're out there not just doing the event center stuff, and not again, but to bring it up, but yesterday I had a meeting with the Pride committee that's hosting a Pride Week, and I commented in the Better Nanaimo Facebook group, which is a very political hot group, and I commented, great meeting yesterday with the Vice President Lauren Semple, and great things are happening for this community, and yada yada yada.
She's a wonderful person.
And then
for the community, too.
someone comments, vote no. And this is where it gets down to, and it bugs me, because whether I am the spokesperson for the Yes team or whatever it might be, this community is a lot larger right now than just this event center. And if we keep continuing to every count we make to the event center, we're going to die. We're not going to want, no one's going to want to vote on March the 11th because it's all we're talking about. The community keeps going. We have the event center going on. We've got this drug issue we got to deal with, this homeless issue, this issue. We continue to do. So I need to, again, encourage everyone to keep doing those things as the Yes guys do, and I know the No guys do it as well. We continue to further our community in the right direction. For us, the event center is one step to a lot of steps to go in the right direction.
Well, something you need to do. You need to do shit in your downtown area, and like I as I pointed out, the Romans did that to revitalize things, to employ people. They took our money. I've got people asking me about the educate why this money's not going to our local schools and such, but I'm pretty sure that's all federal.
Provincial.
That's provincial, and this would be local city money. This would be this is the city of Nanaimo money.
Yeah.
And therefore it's coming out of people's property taxes and stuff
Yes.
like that. Now, is this going to raise people's property tax then?
No, so the again, one of our concerns was when they brought this up was, is it going to raise property taxes, So they brought this up, the issue up, in November, December, whatever it was, and then finally they announced in late January that no property taxes will be raised for this project, which is a huge relief for many people, including myself, including my family, because I want to see, again, our community grow, but I don't want to see our property taxes go so high that no one wants to live here and everyone's moving away at the same time. So it's a twofold situation, right?
Yeah.
We need to make sure our property taxes are not being raised and are at a comfortable level. People can live still and want to move here and want to work here. At the same time, we need to grow our city at the same time. So I think they're doing a great job. I think the city's done a fantastic job in making sure that happens. Now, people are going to question, how are we paying for this plan, and so, I mean, I'll bring up just my information that, I got, and people are going to say,
the big
it's
argument,
different.
The argument I've been hearing online is just it's not a raising of taxes, but some people are using the point of it's a cut to services. They're cutting services.
Yeah, and so City of Nanaimo said there'll be no cut to services.
Okay.
I mean, our debt financing for $80 million is over 20 years, which runs out to, with interest, about $5.4 million a year, so that we have to pay off, and so our annual debt repayment limit for our City of Nanaimo is $39 million. Right now, we're at about 12% of that allowed borrowing with the Nanaimo Aquatic Center, the Ice Center, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, wait, can you? Okay, 'cause I'm so. Can you just go back over that in a term that everybody's going to understand? That's not,
so let's use a term. Basically, a city is allowed to borrow so much per year.
Okay.
Through the municipalities.
Okay.
Nanaimo is allowed to borrow and pay back $39 million a year.
And who are we borrowing that from? The federal or the provincial government?
It's basically a municipal bank.
Okay.
And they only loan you the money if you have a strong plan behind you.
Okay.
This is not a bank that's just open. You have to have a plan behind you. We can't go there and go, hey, $100 million. What for? We don't know yet. You have to have a plan behind you.
So it's not a bank run by Liberals?
I don't know who runs the bank, unfortunately. But anyways, so right now we use about 13% of that debt load per year, which is on the Nanaimo Aquatic Center, which ends pretty quick in different projects. With this $80 million loan, it'll raise us to another 12% for 20 years.
So we'll be at 25%?
Roughly about that, yeah, for a few years until we go down lower again.
And how much interest do we pay on that?
It's roughly about 3%.
Okay.
We don't exactly know yet.
It's like a MasterCard.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we get air miles?
Hopefully someone does get some air miles off that one. That'd be a big one. So the way we're planning on paying it back is various ways. They want to propose a new hotel tax, which will be another 1% increase for the hotel association, because that's not us paying it. That's our friends coming to town paying this to see the event center.
You don't think that's going to discourage tourism or
no,
with the cruise ships?
We will be on par with other hotel associations, Victoria, Vancouver.
Has the hotel association here in Nanaimo, have they spoken out for or against that? I'm just not sure. It's just for clarification.
So I spoke to general managers of hotels who have come as a for it because it builds their base, right?
It makes sense.
When a WHL team comes to town, they got to stay here. When their fans come to town, they got to stay here. When minor hockey holds a big tournament, they got to stay here. When there's a concert coming to town, people from Port Alberni, Parksville, Vancouver, etc., want to stay here. So that again that's a little one though. That's $240,000. Then you have payments in lieu of taxes, which is $400,000, which is basically a PILT they call it. So it's just an exchange in money. Then you have your community fund works, which is $672,000. Your general revenue, which is $1.6 million, and then your strategic infrastructure revenue reserve, which is $2.4 million. So yes, people can say that we are using tax dollars because we have to. There's no way we cannot use tax dollars unless it's a private, opportunity. So we are using it, but there'll be no taxes raised, and I'm confident that no services will be cut. Unfortunately, it comes with bad timing, with such as the Nanaimo Employment Association closing their doors March 31st. It does look like it, and I'm with you guys. It looks like it can be resolved.
And in that case, it's important that, and we're happy that the clarification was made too, because it's so easy, especially with such an intense campaign, to get so much misinformation.
Yes. Yeah. We talk about we had a lot of snow recently, and our plows didn't do a great job right away. And again, people blame the event center. And those
it was
things,
a funny meme.
It was a funny meme, and I laugh at those cartoons.
I blame the Swedish feminist snow removal.
Oh my god.
So anything, and this is what the bugs me, is anything that someone can blame, they are. So I'm glad this conversation's happening.
The Russians?
Yeah, exactly.
No, they sent us a weather front with their anti-HARP Doppler radar.
I seen a thing the other day that had Trump putting his hands up saying Trump supports the event center. So
I support Trump.
That was. I thought it was very
uninspiring.
That one.
To me, these things make light to this tough situation. I seen a sign the other day, and so we created our signs, the big 11-foot signs that say "Show your support, vote yes." www.voteyesnoweventcenter.ca, and some artists in town put on there, show your support for the rich guys, yada yada yada. I love it. It's funny. I'm sure no one's gonna take it serious.
No.
But it's funny. It gives light to a situation where I'm staying up to 2 a.m. answering questions. To me, go, that's a good one. And that's why people are, they expect me to be mad at this cartoon that's come up. Why would I be mad? That's awesome. That is someone's skill right there. That is someone's skill who created that. And his his creative mind knew how to draw, because I can't draw worth shit, and at the same time knew how to make a funny twist to it, So I think those things are awesome, and it gives light to a hot topic.
Well, I think you brought a lot of things to light about just where the money is coming from
Yeah.
and how it's going to impact people locally. Because like a lot of people are worried about rising property taxes. Like we've got these projections on the cost of building it, but how do you think that the proposed carbon taxes from the Trudeau government and stuff are going to affect the building costs over the next 2 years while it's being constructed? Right.
I'm not too sure on that. Whether I agree with the Liberal government or Conservative government or NDP government or Green Party.
So you're
is,
hoping they see the light on that carbon tax issue?
Yes.
and this will be able to go ahead on schedule and on budget. I guess that's why there might be a bit
But
of
it's not going to
variance.
break the bank.
Well, no,
No,
I did have the
it
question
won't
about
be.
why there's
There-
a 64 to
It's not
$100
like
million
Millennium.
variance, and
Yep.
I can honestly see, $64 million, and then the Liberal government decides to levy a carbon tax, could go up real quick.
Yes. So
Right.
people ask the question, if it goes over budget, what's the issue? So there is a reserve for that, and people will say, what's a reserve? Well, let's think smart here. So let's say I'm the construction company,
Yep.
and I've now got that contract to build the event center, and I know the project's $69 million. Let's
Yep.
say $70 million for ease, $70 million, and now you just admitted, the city of Nanaimo, that you have $20 million extra, just
Yep.
in case I go over. Hey, guess what I'm doing now? I'm making sure that goes over $20 million because I know you got it.
Absolutely.
So there's things that can't be said. We cannot
Yeah.
come out to the city of Nanaimo and say, hey, we have $10 million extra in case it goes over.
Well, my understanding, though, of a contract with a construction company is when they do an estimate and then they do a contract, when they miss their budget and such, they can start receiving fines, or at least fines
Yes.
to their final payment, right? Like, you pay out enough that they are able to hire laborers and pay for the materials to do the construction, but a large amount, which is their payment at the end, is held in reserve, and then if they are going over budget, they're being fined.
Yep.
And for these companies and these multi-million-dollar projects, the fines are $50,000 a day or some
Yep.
such things, right? So a lot of people don't understand that when you talk, like, people go, oh, no, I just got Steve from down the street to fix my house. I'm like, why didn't you get a contractor? Oh, what do you mean? And I go, well, no, you actually sign a contract and get a
Yes.
contract done. It beholds them to do the job based on their estimate and not fuck you.
Yeah,
and
so
not
the
walk
the
away.
reserve is there in case something is needed that no
Yeah.
one knew about.
Yeah.
And so those things have to happen in big projects like this. But the city of Nanaimo cannot come out and say there is $15 extra million. I don't know the number either. I don't.
Yeah.
Nobody
so
should know.
what I'm saying is these is wrong numbers.
Yep.
It could be $1 to 100. I have no idea.
Yep.
But we cannot come out because the construction company will use that against us, and then we will be
Exactly.
paying an extra $10 million. Let's speak about the WHL team just for a moment, because that is our main tenant.
Big time.
I get pissed off when someone says it's an arena because it's an event center. Yes, the main tenant, we have to have it. We don't have an tenant, there is no event center. It's simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
The WHL cannot sign a contract with us until we have an appropriate standard building. I get mad when someone says, well, the WHL is not supporting Nanaimo. The new owners who are going to own this team are not supporting Nanaimo. They actually are, because if this event center goes through, they're going to house that team in Frank Crane Arena for 2 seasons. That is not a arena that can hold a WHL team.
it certainly
The
cannot.
production is bad. The dressing rooms are terrible. But they're going to invest. That owner knows he or she is going to lose money for at least 2 years to be in that building. Because whether you fill the building every night at 2,700 people, you're not going to get enough fans to pay your wages and your operation costs. So they are investing in Nanaimo. They're saying, you get this, we'll get excitement, we'll get some hype, we'll get the team here in September, and we're going to have 2 fantastic seasons, and then we'll open up. We're not going to wait 2 years and then open up at the event center and then make money.
Speaking
Maybe,
to that point,
maybe
though,
we could just rent the Mighty Ducks for a season and get a Stanley Cup in
Yeah.
BC.
Hey, maybe.
but speaking to that point, though, with the that's one personal concern I've always kind of had with the WHL and their actual commitment to Nanaimo, and that's like legit. It's a legitimate concern that I have. What's going to happen in 2 seasons or 3 seasons? And I'm just saying hypothetical. What if they move? What if something goes wrong? What if something happens?
So we learn from mistakes that other cities have made, as I'm sure some learn from us that we've made as well.
Mm-hmm.
There is going to be a push for a 20-year agreement with the WHL that will lock us in to make sure that A doesn't happen, or if it does happen, we are protected.
A 20-year agreement would maybe, as a voter, it would make me feel a hell of a lot more
But
comfortable.
that again is something that is on the table. That is again something that cannot be signed yet.
No,
An
it
agreement-
can't be shared publicly
I don't,
either
I'm,
if it's
not,
being
now,
negotiated.
I'm not aware of the history of the WHL, right? How long has the league been in existence?
Oh, for a long time. It's
Time.
one of the highest. It is the ratio towards players who are playing who go to the National Hockey League is the highest out of any league.
Oh, so it's not like the XFL.
No, it's not the XL with Vince McMahon and those guys.
No.
No.
This is the
Look at
Western
the
Hockey League,
reference.
because I've actually had a couple of people bring up to me like, "Oh, women's hockey would be very." And I have several of my friends.
Did you just assume the gender of that league?
Hey,
People
it's a
have.
legitimate. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's important to note we are not
Oh
getting
my
the
God.
women's hockey league.
Yeah.
And I don't even believe there is a women's
I,
hockey
re- I
league.
read the best meme the other day. It was, what does the Twin Towers have in common with gender? There used to be 2 of them, and now it's a touchy subject.
Oh. But yeah, so West Hockey League is the highest caliber of junior hockey. These players are 16 to 20 years old who are coming to town, who are staying in town. Again, it creates that vibrant feel. The difference between the BCHL, which we have right now, the Nanaimo Clippers, who unfortunately probably would not exist any longer. They'd probably relocate to another island city. More teams stay in town. There are more
I'm not
home games.
understanding. I'm not understanding. Why would the Clippers leave?
There's just not a viable option to have 2 junior teams in the Nanaimo.
Okay, so they both play in the same league.
No.
Okay.
BCHL
They wouldn't be able
and
to share
WHL. So BCHL is the British Columbia Hockey League, which has 17 teams,
Okay.
and there's 4 on the island. They play 27 home games, which, again, you're playing probably out of 27, 11 of those island teams. Island teams don't stay in the Nanaimo. They go home. So in the WHL, you play 36 home games. The production is massive. You get your kiss cams, you get your ride on the Zamboni, all that kind of fun stuff for the entertainment value where you don't get in BCHL. 36 home games. You've only got one other island team, which is the Victoria Royals. And then you got other teams who are potentially staying in your city, hopefully. So the economic bonus for just that alone, teams staying here, fans following, there's more national coverage. You can bid for things like the Memorial Cup, which is the CHL's big cup. That alone, it was held in Kelowna a couple years ago, and that tournament alone generated $2.4 million.
Now,
Just that tournament.
I got people talking about how they have a difficulty filling a Clippers game, right?
Yep.
And so that's because of the league they're playing in then?
So there's a few things for that. I worked for the Nanaimo Clippers at one point. I worked for the Victoria Grizzlies at one point as well, 2 BCHL teams, both in the community relations and marketing aspect. I started watching hockey in the 03-04 season when it was Bill Bestwick as head coach and general manager. That team, the reason I started watching is that team came to my elementary school and gave me a free ticket, and I was excited. Every year after that, until 5 years ago, I was season ticket holder. That's what's lacking with this team right now. And I mean, with no disrespect to the management right now, with Mike Vandekamp as head coach and Darcy Olsen as community relations manager, no disrespect at all, but they're not in the community as much as they need to be, and there's no solid marketing plan behind them. And they're not doing that great this season either.
Okay.
So that all
That's a good point.
You look at the league standpoint, the league is, the WHL is higher. People move up from BCHL to WHL. That's how the way it works. There are more people who go up there.
Explain, because I'm not huge into hockey. I played rugby when I was in school for the short period I was before they kicked me out for selling weed. I stopped playing team sports, and then I got into trouble. Weird, hey? So let's cut more fucking sports funding.
Yes.
Fucked up, right? The liberal government cutting the goddamn sports tax credit or whatever for children. So explain to me the tier.
Yes.
That it would start. That NHL, I guess, would be the top.
Yeah, NHL would be the top. You'd probably go down to the AHL, which is the farm teams.
Okay.
So that's the American Hockey League.
Yeah.
Then you'd probably go down to the CHL, which is the Canadian Hockey League, which inside there is the WHL. You got your other leagues as well, but in our Western Hockey League is the WHL.
That means that there's potential from WHL players from teams that we are watching to go to the Canadian League games that go and play like the Russians and all of that
World
stuff?
Juniors?
The World
Absolutely.
Juniors.
So the World Juniors are coming to Victoria and Vancouver in 2 years.
So
that's
exciting.
exciting.
Because that's actual, I actually do like World Juniors hockey. That is like some skill-based
Christmas
hockey.
tradition.
World Juniors hockey, you see some, hopefully, people play for Team Canada or whatever
So
team they
now
represent.
I'm kind of interested that there would be potential to see a World Juniors game here.
Yes.
Watch us just stomp the Russians some more.
Memorial
Show
Cup.
them why Western values are better than communism.
Yeah, Memorial Cup, which talked about, which generated $2.4 million for the community that comes. We can bid on that, and that's where your elite stars are coming from. That's where your next NHL stars
What
are.
does bidding on that mean for the city? Like, would that cost us more money to bid on it?
Kind of
What
like a
promises
smaller
are we
version
making?
of bidding on the Super Bowl or something like
or
that.
World Junior Hockey or whatnot. You bid on it to say, this is what we got, this is the amount of hotels we got, this is the ice time we got, this is the offer we can do, yada, yada, yada. Then teams stay in town, fans come watch, the TSN's covering all the games on national television. That's how it really generates there.
And because the city, realistically, we have so many other ice, rinks and whatnot. I mean,
Never enough.
There
we
were
could
questions about
accommodate.
the rinks
We
in
would be
Bevan
able to accommodate actually a tournament of that magnitude with all the secondary ice.
Yeah, so we talk about rinks right now. It's a good question. Right now we have Frank Crane Arena, which houses the Nanaimo Clippers. We have Clippic Dam, which is right beside them, and then we have the Nanaimo Ice Center, which is 2 sheets of ice.
Yeah.
I've spoken to Darcy Osborne, the general manager of Frank Crane and the Ice Center. I've spoken to Nanaimo Minor Hockey. I've spoken to the Old Timers Hockey. The VLU Mariners have a hockey team now coming in this upcoming season. I've spoken to the Nanaimo Buccaneers, the North Island Silvertips, all these people who play in these buildings, and everyone says we need more ice time.
Well, I think what everybody is really dying to know about is curling.
So we have a curling center. we can apply for the Scotties. We can apply for all those things we want to. Save on Foods gets them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you saying that there'll be curling in the there'll be ability for curling in the new event center?
Absolutely. You know, we don't want to take anything away from the Nanaimo Curling Center. Denise Wood, the executive director, is doing a fantastic job there. They painted the building recently. The new parking lot's now done. They're doing a great job there. But if we're going to apply for these major events that can't go in the curling center, we can definitely hold them in the Nanaimo Event Center.
Nice. Because I mean, the knowledge of curling and curling rules is actually a case study in genetic passing on between Canadians. You just instinctively know, right? So everybody talks about hockey. There's not enough curling talk.
One thing I just have to ask too. A lot of people I'm hearing about it on social media is about the First Nation aspect, and there's been a lot of confusion as to
Are you talking about the aspect of the building?
Well, where the building is proposed, the proposed building is supposed to be. It's like an old Snuneymuxw village essentially.
Everything's
and again,
an old
I'm speaking
something.
in layman's terms and whatnot. It's an archaeological site, but the point being is that there's a lot of confusion online as to
Have
are
they
they
been
talking
consulted?
to
Have they-
First Nations?
Yep.
Are they not?
So-
Why don't you clarify that a little bit?
Yeah, so absolutely. So again, I have not been part of those conversations because I'm not at city level. I'm not a counselor. I'm not
Yeah.
a city staff member. But I'm confident with speaking to City Manager Tracy Samra. I'm confident with speaking with First Nations member and City Councilor Billy Yoakum. Councilor Bestwick clarified again on the radio show last night that these conversations have been happening a lot. And it just doesn't show just that site. It shows the Nanaimo in general. Today, actually, they're going with Rogers Hometown Hockey over to have a First Nations feast. You know, if our relationship was not good with the First Nations, these things would not be happening. You're going to see on Rogers Hometown Hockey on Sunday a good First Nations tribute. And I encourage, if you're not down there watching it, watch it at home on Sportsnet. Because this shows our relationship is building stronger and stronger every day with the Tsunamic First Nations.
Well, I know that the First Nations get misrepresented a lot, especially up in the north. Like I saw lots of First Nations protesters who were down at the Rebel media rallies wanting jobs and pipelines and stuff. They were not impressed. The $11 billion pipeline that was proposed through the mountains, $1 billion of that was supposed to be owned by the First Nation tribes that went through and give them continuous revenue because they don't want these underdeveloped reserves with no jobs. And they realize you see a lot of the chiefs and stuff that come down protesting are actually paid environmental celebrities, right? And they show up there dressed in a lot of their First Nations garb. And then you get other guys down there in their work gear and their hats who are like, look, this guy does not speak for all of us. He just knows how to put on shit that makes you feel bad. And then suddenly they're like not putting these jobs through. I mean, that was a huge hit to those tribes all along there. There's a lot of employers up through the north who want to First Nations people to have jobs and build up their communities and everything. So I think First Nations people tend to want to be just as employed and prosperous as anybody else trying to live the.
And I've spoken to First Nations friends of mine, and they're in favor of this project. But conversations are happening. And as we speak, they're happening right now as well to make sure that not only with this project, but with everything we do in the Nanaimo, has representation from the Tsunamic First Nations, because this, we have to work with them in order to continue going forward. That includes their graduation rates. Helping with the school district. I went to John Barsby, and the average rate of graduation was very low, and it still is. So these are a lot bigger issues than just the event center, but it is one that the city is continuing conversations with the Tsunamic First Nations on this and many other projects to strengthen the relationship. There's a counselor on there, Bill Bestwick. You can ask Jim Kipp. They've been on there for a long time now, and they can say from day one to now, the relationship is crazy. They couldn't pick up a phone before and call the First Nations, the tribe at Tsunamic First Nations. Now they can and have a civil conversation.
Well, I mean, a lot of people, you're talking about the graduation rates in schools and stuff like that, and people moving away from Nanaimo, right? This is the problem with immigration, and I'm talking about inter-country immigration, like inside your country, where everybody who takes the time to go to college and gets a trade job and everything like that then moves out of the community to where these jobs are and then has their kids there and then contributes to that community, right? So if you have these people who are now staying in the community and then they're having their kids here and then their kids are going to school and then just the general job creation, it builds up everything. Your graduation rates go up. People... your kids hang out with better kids. It helps the whole community. It builds from the bottom up, not like the heart out like some politicians believe. Right. So having a strong economy helps. It helps all those. It helps in the education. It helps in all of that. I mean, it's people can just do more shit and revitalize your whole community.
Yep.
Yeah, that wasn't the most elegant ending to that. Right. I did want to point out though. Okay, so on this wow, what do you call it? The fucking picture of the event center I saw online. They had
Concept drawing.
A grass roof.
Yep.
Now, have you looked at the grass roof on that building in Duncan?
So again, this concept drawing, I've asked the city to put out more renderings of the drawing.
You know the grass roof I speak of, the dead one, the brown one that's dead, like all
That's
the
on
fucking time.
VIU's roof?
No, it's down in I mean, is that the VIU in downtown Duncan, right by their hockey stick arena?
Yes, it's a VIU building.
Yeah, and I've never seen that thing alive.
Yep, so-
summer, winter.
Yeah, we can't, and maybe someone will fight with this. We cannot vote on March 11th of a design.
Okay.
You know, if that's what we're voting on, we're voting wrong.
Yeah.
If someone told me, goes,
Yeah, that's true.
and this is a true story. Someone said, "Wow, your sign looks great. I'm voting yes."
Oh my.
And I'm like, wait, why are you voting yes? Because your sign looks great. I'm like, please don't.
No, it's the
Please
broken windows.
don't.
You would
vote-
hope to God they would look more into
You're
the
like, you
issues
got
a
your
little
life
bit.
together.
I'm like, I'm sorry. I love everyone's voting yes, but let's sit down and talk for a minute
Your
to make
hair
sure you
looks
know.
great.
Exactly. Yes. You know.
What you need to do is just do some crunches and then just photobomb people
Yes.
on beaches, and you will get your point across.
Yeah, and so that's my biggest thing is we can't just basically vote no because we're worried the design doesn't look good. It's a concept design. You know, there are some good points to it. There's some bad points to it. Is it modern looking? No. Is it, looks like First Nations? Yes. Is there a grass roof for the environmentalists? Yes. Is the grass roof actually going to work? We don't know. So there's a lot of different questions that are asked. Should the building be faced towards the ocean when you walk out? Should you be able to see all glass there?
It sounds like
you
you're
know?
less of a yes committee and more of a watchdog committee. As in, you want this to go through, but yeah, you really want to watch this
Make sure it's
process
done
to
properly.
not-
Yes.
Because you yourself have cited other points where things have fucked up or not gone so well in community
Yeah,
projects
so
like this.
yeah, I guess
right?
you could say, we have to target ourselves as a yes committee, but in some sense we are a watchdog committee if it gets yes on March 11th.
Yeah.
And make sure that it does get done right for our community. So again, like I've said before, that my family can live here for the rest of our lives, and my nephews, and hopefully my children one day, and yada yada yada.
Well, we got to make sure we don't get that Quebec-style construction bidding politics going on here either, right? So that the money that is allocated for it actually gets to the end of the project and goes to the right places. Because there are a lot of local construction companies around here that could ramp up. I mean, either SureSpan does construction work and stuff like that. There's all sorts of that can benefit from such a large project.
Well, I mean, there's a foot ferry coming in hopefully soon, right in that same area.
They've been awarded the contract now, so now it's working on lease things and whatnot. And so hopefully, that to foot ferry, it's coming in regardless whether there's an event center or not. But I think with an event center, it'll help.
Just added
business.
infrastructure, almost like when you combine it all together, you're creating an atmosphere for,
Have
for
there been
real growth.
traffic studies for the downtown area for how all of these people coming in and out for construction is going to affect traffic flow through through the core? Is it just going to be 2 years of fucking nobody can go near the middle of Nanaimo?
No. I mean, the traffic study, obviously you understand that when something big is happening, there are, things put in place to make sure you can't sometimes go on this road or because there's construction.
Yeah.
It's like any project, you do, I live just off the Parts Bay Road right now, and they're fixing the sewage line right there. And I got to, not right now, it's finished now, but I got to wait in line in order to go because they're middle, go around, wait stuff. So there's going to be things that are put in place that, you may not be able to go on this road for 2 days because we're fixing the sewage line, or we got a big crane coming in so you can't use this road. It's not going to be, the downtown Nanaimo's not going to be shut down because of it. It's exact same as when we had an event down there. We know it's going to be busier. That's given. It's going to be busier. When you got 5,000 people going down for a hockey game or for a concert, it's going to be busier. We'll do our best to try and make sure it's not congested too bad. Same as the fireworks. When you have fireworks in downtown Nanaimo, it gets busy. We all work it out, though. It all ends up working in the right, area. None of us end up, not being able to move for 2 days.
No, it'd be good.
In
So,
fact,
I mean, like you may
true.
find shuttle services are incredibly popular. You may find parkades springing up that are a little bit further from downtown with shuttle services.
I've talked to businesses like who aren't necessarily in the downtown core, but still have a restaurant within the area, who said, "Hey, we'd love to offer shuttle. You come eat at our restaurant before a game or before a concert. We'll drive you there."
Well, I mean, other businesses do it. Like, I mean, in other cities, casinos will do shuttle services and whatnot. It's pretty common in a lot of places.
It's to get the business to them, and then hey, let's drive you down.
Yeah, and I mean, trade shows are also really. If you've got a nice big arena like that, I've been like I said, I went to the gun show in the Agana Event Center, and that was just downright fun.
Yeah,
there was nothing like just seeing a large arsenal of firearms laid out there and just being able to shop, and various other trade shows too.
Whether it's gun shows, boat shows, home shows, whatever it might be, women's shows, all sorts of things. That's again things that can be held in the event center because of the size of the building.
And those will all bring that all brings money to your downtown.
Yes.
Because I think most people's concern is that they are just going to try and shoo people to another part of town and ignore what has gone down in that main area. Like, we want people to come off of cruise ships
Yes.
and then not have to walk through a combination of like Bosnia and then a few happening restaurants to get to this area, right?
Yeah. You know, as an Nanaimoite, and I love my city, as I'm sure you guys do as well, and many others do, it sickens me to know we have a cruise ship coming. And that sounds weird. You know, what do you mean it sickens you to know a cruise ship coming? These are what brings money. I worked at Lighthouse Bistro for a year and a half as a marketing director, and I know the money it brings to Lighthouse Bistro alone. But it sickens me to know that they have to walk around that and they have to see that. These are people who I want to come to Nanaimo and say, holy moly, you know, hey, wife, hey, husband, we're coming back here.
Yeah,
this is a beautiful
exactly.
city. And right now, I don't see that happening. I see people walking, going like, "Holy moly, what is that over there? That is a dump right there. Oh God, it
there's
stinks
certain
down.
times
Oh."
of night you don't want to
Yeah,
get. I
exactly.
drove to work the other day, and they had no, it was about 2 weeks ago. There was an ambulance right by the Firehouse Grill there, first thing in the morning, reviving somebody, obviously dying of fentanyl in a car.
Oh, the
You know
overdoses
what I
are
mean?
getting like noticeably crazy.
Oh,
Like,
and
it's
Vancouver and stuff
noticeably.
like that. And I mean, like you.
No, I mean for a city of Nanaimo, like for Nanaimo, like I've only lived here 10 years, but
The thing is, like, you're always going to have a part of society that gravitates towards that. But when you've got jobs and you've got a strong economy, you have a lot of people
Things
who,
to do, activities to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you're not like, I mean, you know, and I'm not like I've personally never, you know, touched cocaine or anything like that. But the times that I've thought about it
I was
was
at
when
the
I was
straw
bored.
touch it.
You know, was when I was bored.
well, exactly.
You know, and I
yeah.
had nothing to do. I was sitting there, you know, and the conversation brought up, and it's like, you know, it's because you're bored.
Yeah.
You know, most times, and all it takes is we all know one time to get hooked, or one time to have a bad, you know, line of
it's,
coke or whatever it might be. You know,
It's
so,
well, it's more than that. That's kind of a non-scientific. They have done studies where it takes it takes, like, even for heroin, which makes you physically dependent, it takes about 3 weeks worth.
I'm not saying
Well, like,
one time,
generally,
but you
yeah.
know, but the
most-
one time
most
gets you the
people
feeling.
who, end up having addiction
Exactly.
problems are people who feel disconnected from their community.
Yes.
They have hard times getting jobs and such like that. So I mean, they're having a strong economy once again. Like, I'm a fiscal conservative. That's why I carry a conservative card. I think that that's why the rest of the time I'm a libertarian. Like, people should be able to smoke weed and stuff like that and everything like that. But if you've got, like, money in your community, and people, like, I believe in lowering taxes so that people have more money to spend on what they want, which is charity. I give more money to the charitable causes that I'd like to if I had lower taxes to the government.
Yep.
Right. It's not like the government is using my taxes in the best. Talking back to the vote.
But
so
just for charity for just a moment, you brought charity.
Yeah.
And this is a good point because that's where I started my career, was in charity, Big Brothers Big Sisters. I've continued
nice.
with Kids Sport in Nanaimo. Right now, as a fundraising manager for the Neurological Wellness Association, so charity is a big thing for me, and sports helps charity. So you look at
Yep.
the Kelowna Rockets. Last time they did an economic study, they donated roughly $250,000 to the local community, whether it's through minor hockey, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, whatever it might be. So again, there's an aspect
Absolutely.
there as well where you're not just these, as people say, billionaires coming in and owning this team and having a toy. These kids, 16 to 18, 16 to 20 years old, are learning things, are staying off the streets as well, you know, are getting an education as well while going through the NHL or college at the same time. They are giving back to our community in a massive way.
Absolutely, that is a very good point to note too. I mean, like I played sports growing up, and you know, it keeps you busy. You also learn skills.
Oh, it
like
teaches
life
you.
skills.
It teaches you about failure,
Yep.
and losing and sportsmanship and stuff like that. I had a
Handling
joke,
loss.
I joked the other day about you know, if we had the Communist Olympics, we would all start at the same time and walk at the same speed, and anybody who tried to get ahead would get shot. And then we got to the end, we all pat ourselves on the back and hand gold medals around.
Yeah, you know, so again, I played sports, and again, it's about that belonging. When you talked about this
Yeah.
a moment ago about, you know, why people are addicted to drugs, it's about belonging. It's about, you know, knowing someone wants you there and
Yeah.
knowing that, you know, you feel loved, and, you know, and again, sports helps that. Arts and culture help that, you know,
Indeed.
and that's things that this event center is going to bring to our community. If we could prove that the event center is going to save one person, you know, because they got a job there, then $80 million is worth it in my mind.
Well,
Obviously, that's just thinking way too much and just saying, hey, you know, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying if I knew that it would save one person because they had a job and they were going to stop doing drugs or whatever it might be, I would do it.
Community planning, though, also is based on like 10 and 20-year plans.
Yes.
People look right into the immediate, and you got to look now like, okay, if this is built in 5 years' time, and there's kids who are able to go to our college and then look forward to jobs in the community, like it's on the long term, right? Like I point out that the safe injection sites are a Band-Aid for a bullet wound, right?
Yes.
And an actual long-term solution is creating a community where people want to live and have an opportunity to succeed and live what you would call the Western dream, the dream of being able to have a good job job and a family and a car and a dog and everything like that, and some community connections, because there's a disconnection of community. It drives people apart, right? That's what a bunch of these identity politics do to people and everything like that. They make you not know your neighbor. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, you knew the people on either side of you and stuff like that. And I think that's definitely gets lost in a lot of this. So a place where people come together more and hang out more. I mean, there's there needs to be a lot to attract people in Nanaimo that is not solely based around a club scene in the downtown area, right? Because there's the nighttime club scene. That's why the Globe, where that used to be a strip club and is now a cannabis club, is a nice example of changing up an area, right? And just removing bad vibes from that. No complaints in that area since they stopped having a liquor license there and
I
stopped
don't think
having
we've even had a
late-night
noise
bullshit.
complaint or anything.
Yeah, no, stoners are a quiet lot for the most part. I mean, you might
I'm
startle
sure when it
them,
was
but-
the bar, the Pacifica probably had their share of noise complaints at that point.
Yeah.
The high rise across the street.
You know, okay, so talking actually to the bar, we're going to have, so there'll be hockey events, there'll be beer vendors there and stuff like that, right? So is it going to be like a giant, I'm wondering if there'll be opportunities for some of our local craft brewers to have their products sold in the event center?
Yeah, absolutely. My understanding is that people can rent that space, concession space, the beer garden space, whatever it might be, and bring what they would like to be in it. You know, so if a company rents out the restaurant that's going to be inside the event center, they can bring in some craft brew from VI Brewery or Tofino Brewery or wherever they may be. You know, so absolutely. You know, I'm not a big beer guy myself, but you know, if I'm drinking beer, it's definitely going to be craft beer. So I think it's an opportunity for whoever's going to operate the concession stand, the beer gardens, or the restaurants going inside there to bring in local beer.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to be able to have people like drink the beer there and go, oh, what am I drinking here? Oh, this is White Sales. Oh, I can go to the brewery there down the street there and pick this. We bring growlers. They're growlers home, which are just awesome. It's like a big jug of beer. And it's like 11, but depending on which one. But it's great. You take it home. There's like mugs in it and shit. Yeah, I quite do that. And then there's like rest recycling and everything like that. It's better for the environment and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So with the WHL though, like who's going to own this team though? It's another question that a lot of people are like asking, like because the city's not going to own the actual WHL team, and the team that everyone's talking about getting would be the Kootenay Ice, and it doesn't really sound like it sounds like they're looking to sell the team as in like sell it off. So one thing that's not really discussed is and I know this could be just pure speculation, I guess. Like who's owning the team? Who's bringing it in? Is it going to be like an ownership group? Is it like a person? Is it like another like what if who's the owner?
So the great question. Those details are not public yet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because the individual or individuals, I don't even know, so I'm not saying could sacrifice a few things they're trying to do at a business level as well. You know, because maybe, and again, I'm just speaking on my thoughts. Maybe this individual is buying this team regardless, but he doesn't want to say, "Hey, I'm buying it. I'm moving to Nanaimo." And then Nanaimo says no on March 11th, and he still buys it and stays in Kootenay. He doesn't want to piss off that market.
Exactly.
If that's his or her
because I mean, there was an article in
that's-
one of the Cranbrook newspapers where the Kootenay Ice are based out of, where they were committing, we'll be back next season, but that was from their
Because they
owners,
don't
and
wanna
you know,
lose
it's
their
a lot of
cut,
it's
yeah.
theatrics anyway.
No, The Simpsons did an episode about this in the
He has,
the Isotopes.
Jeff
and the
has to
album.
say
has to
that.
say that.
You know, he can't
Exactly.
say when someone's, are you coming back next year? Hey, we don't know yet. Because then his fans go, I'm not buying season tickets.
Fuck that. Exactly,
Go screw
yeah.
yourself. So these things and
all bargaining power.
Exactly.
And you're going to be out on the ice for a season or two with nobody cheering for
like-
you, and you're going to tank, and by the time you move to a new city,
and so when people fight those quotes and those articles, I'm going, give your head a shake. Have you never
that's
owned
the
a business?
thing,
Have you
is-
never used some common sense before?
my understanding of
I've never
sports
realized people
is,
follow politics so much in this town, and then they don't understand how this theatrics that you talk about in this avenue, it can be applied to other avenues like sports and entertainment.
My understanding is if you simply put your arena beside a cornfield, your team just appears, right? They'll just come walking out through the fucking out of the cornfield with their skates on across the asphalt.
So yes, I don't know who this owner or owners may be. I know there is people that are interested, and there is a tentative deal made with the WHL that again is just an understanding agreement. We have from the date if we vote yes on March the 11th, there is, I think it's 14 to 21 days. They expect that agreement to be solid.
to go from
Signed
a tentative
contract,
agreement in principle to an actual
So the
agreement.
WHL is here with those owners, with the city announcing a 20-year agreement with said team, which again, rumors are that it's going to be the Kootenay Ice. We know Jeff and his family want to sell that team, whether it be locally or to Nanaimo. So maybe Jeff still sells his team as of March 11 to those individuals or individual, and he keeps it there. So
I noticed the WHL also noted too. I mean, when they did when they were talking to the local media this week, that the guy who runs the WHL, I forget his name.
Rob Robson.
Yeah, sorry. He basically stated that they're looking if we get the arena, that they're looking into bringing a WHL team, whether through expansion or through selling.
So let's hit on that for just a moment. So WHL Commissioner Ron Robson has made it very clear they want to be in Nanaimo, if at all possible, with
and have for years too.
Yes, with a WHL standard building. And the reason why is so Victoria right now, a team comes to Victoria, they play Victoria 2 nights. That hurts their attendance. You know, you don't want to see the same team back to back if the first night was a 7-1 victory. That's boring. So what they want to do is be able to give an opportunity for, let's say, the Vancouver Giants or the Swift Current Broncos or whatever may be the team comes in, plays Victoria to Friday night, Nanaimo Saturday, or vice versa. More bang for their buck and more entertainment value. Because if I know in Nanaimo that I'm a season ticket holder, I don't have to. I'm going to a game, and the Moose Jaw Warriors just kicked the shit out of the Victoria Royals last night. And there were some good fights there. I'm going to go see the Nanaimo game, or vice versa, or some good rivalry when Nanaimo native Owen Hardy, who plays the Vancouver Giants, is coming back to Nanaimo to play for the first time. Or Patrick Bajkov in Everett, or Dylan Ferguson
I'll tell you
in
what,
the Blazers.
When I grew up in the East Coast in Nova Scotia, and we'd go see the Halifax Mooseheads, who play in the Quebec Major Junior League. And Sidney Crosby at the time still played for Rimouski, which is a Quebec small town, but that's the team he played for. And the Halifax Mooseheads was playing the Halifax Metro Center, but a 10,000-seat arena.
Yeah.
Actually, it might be smaller for hockey, actually, because of the ice. But anyway, when Sidney Crosby would come to town, they'd sell frickin' out. It was crazy.
You look at just the Kootenay Ice for a moment. They've had guys like Sam Reinhart, Max Reinhart, 2 NHL stars playing that team. So you see the potential there. And not discrediting the Nanaimo Clippers. They've seen NHL stars as well. Jason Garrison, Matt Irwin. So I'm not saying that just because it's WHL, there's gonna be better stars. It's more likely there are higher caliber of hockey going on. There are more scouts that are scouting these players. There's more activity. There's more production put towards the Western Hockey League. So that's why the WHL team is more of an economic bonus and more of an entertainment value for Nanaimo residents and residents across. I've spoken to my friends in Port Alberni from Parksville. They may not own season tickets because it's but they're definitely going to come to a couple of games. They said.
Okay, now let's shift gears for half a second there. I mean, like we've got a jiu-jitsu club in town, right? That's over at the Nanaimo, the men's health center or whatever it is.
All over,
right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. What's our potential for mixed martial arts in this arena, right?
Yeah.
Have there been? Has anybody talked to the mixed martial arts community?
So you want to fight back in the day in Frank Quinn Arena?
Yeah, so these are all great ideas and great options to think about that we can bring to this event center, whether it's jiu-jitsu, curling, sports, arts, trade shows, conferences. There's a long list of things, grad ceremonies, fundraisers. There's so many things that we can bring to this center that, that now the school board can apply for bigger provincial tournaments to be held here. The university now can apply for bigger tournaments to get here, which again benefits Nanaimo because, hey, it's entertainment value and people are staying here and eating here. So the list is so long that we couldn't say everything, but we're going to continue to keep pushing out, hey, Jiu-Jitsu Club, what kind of, I don't know much about Jiu-Jitsu. But I'll go sit down with those guys and say, what kind of tournaments do you guys have? What kind of things happen? Where do you guys go?
We actually have, I think,
really
bring it up. It's
while he looks that up, I just have a really layman's question. Like maybe you could probably just get your own opinion on it. But like, are in the actual agreement or whatever negotiations are taking place or within those details, is there anything specifically set in stone in place for like making the event center available to the community? Like
so as Frank Crane is,
as
Frank Crane is in the Nanaimo Ice Center in Cliff McNabb, it is available for the community to rent it if they'd like to. I'm going to push for partnerships with the Vancouver Island University, with School District 68. I've already had conversations with a few school trustees. Again, when the center opens, I don't work there. So I just make it very clear there's no job that I have. I'm not going to be the marketing director of the Nanaimo Event Center when it opens. It's not why I'm campaigning.
Have people accused you of that?
Oh, yes.
Holy shit.
I actually had someone accuse me I was going to own the WHL team. I told them to look at my bank account and they realized I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Again.
Tally Campbell presents
exactly,
the Nanaimo Kootenay Ice.
Yeah, so, a big thing is I'm doing this for my community, and I've had conversations with school trustees right now, like, there needs to be a partnership created with VIU as cities doing the same thing as well. I'm, again, just like he said, kind of the push forward. I'm not going to just stop on March the 12th. Our group is going to really, watch it and make sure it happens. The Watchdog Committee following the Vote Yes Committee.
That's awesome. I mean,
So
that's
I found it here. It's we in Nanaimo we have the Island Top Team, which has won championships and stuff. And just reading
That's
up there.
awesome.
Welcome to the Island Top Team, home of the only black belt jiu-jitsu in Central Vancouver Island, voted the #1 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor in Canada. So we have like
Wow.
we
Awesome.
have some we have
Yeah.
a fairly credible martial arts community, from my understanding here, right? And this sort of thing they'd be able to hold some larger tournaments here, which I would be interested in going to. I mean, we might be able to draw some people in there. So there are a lot of events in that, right? But
Yes.
I think they're over at the one up on Bowen there.
I did see, there's a
Yeah,
building
the Cornway
beside
pub.
there.
Yeah.
And then they have a new, I don't know if it's Jitsu, but they have another one that's Brooks Landing just opened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Jitsu, but it's something along the line. But again, there are opportunities now that there's a space that's big enough, to hold these major tournaments. Because the biggest thing we got to realize is these tournaments are held in certain communities based on the event center size,
Yeah.
based on the hotel capacity, based on the transportation. So when someone bids for something, it's not just, okay, Nanaimo's a cool city, let's have it there.
I hate driving to Victoria.
Yes, there's things that have to be put in place.
Bottleneck on the Malahat.
Mm-hmm.
I never want to go to Victoria. Maybe if the train,
Yeah, it's
like
a
still
pain in the
did
ass to drive.
a fucking thing. Like if the train still got you down there for not $80 or whatever the shit it costs, or there was like a dinner, I might go to Victoria, right? And then you want to go to Vancouver. Here's the thing: I don't like Vancouver all that much. Like you go to people are like, oh, I had to go there for work to pick up a thing. And they're like, oh, did you stop at any restaurants? I'm like, no, I followed the GPS to the location. I left. All those people drive me insane.
Yeah.
When I have to go there for a concert, the last time I went was Foo Fighters. It was like I had to go to like you got to go see the Foo Fighters. Fuck.
Yeah.
Right, but like you need to really draw me to Vancouver to get me
So-
to put up with a ferry,
Yeah.
and then downtown, and then all of that bullshit, right? So
And that's what we talk about. Yes, our tourism is going to build because people are going to come here and see shows and stay in hotels and whatnot. But our local economy is going to build as well. I'm going down to the Jeff Dunham show on March 22nd in Victoria. I got a couple buddies coming down with me.
now I understand where your sense of humor lies.
Where we are booking hotels. We are booking a restaurant DDAT. These are Nanaimo dollars leaving the Nanaimo community.
Well, and I could see Jeff Dunham if we had a community here, playing down there and then coming up here, because you got the island communities are actually set up really, really uniquely. Like living up in the north for a couple of years and having grown up in like Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and then Grand Prairie, Alberta, and then lived in Fort St. John, Dawson Creek area. Those communities up there have distances of 80 kilometers between them and stuff like that. News travels fast, but you have this unique thing where like people from Duncan would rather drive from Duncan, or even people from Mill Bay would rather go from Mill Bay to Nanaimo if we did have larger events going on than ever drive over that Malahat and hit Colwood and have to fight with Victoria.
The traffic.
right?
I've been stuck in on the Malahat in the fog.
One
couldn't
asshole
even
not
see in front
wearing
of me.
winter tires on his car, right? And then you were there for 6 hours waiting for them to scrape him off the side of the highway. And you're like, oh, great. Thank you. Way to ruin my Wednesday evening.
Yep.
Fucktard.
So again, that's a big thing is it's not even just dollars coming to the community; it's dollars that we need to keep in our community.
Yeah.
My friends' parents are going down to Elton John.
You could see people coming all the way from Port Alberni and stuff.
Oh, we
like
did
that.
we did a study in
It's
Port
very
Alberni,
shorter- yeah.
and a large majority have said they would love to attend events here in Nanaimo. I worked as the assistant manager of a nightclub in Nanaimo, and the shocking of how many people from Port Alberni and Comox would come down here
Yeah.
for a nightclub that's not even, I'm sorry to say, but not even that good right now.
Why didn't you
like,
make it to full manager?
The nightclub in Nanaimo aren't the greatest right now, and hopefully they'll get better with an event center and activities going on in the downtown core.
Look at all the room we have for activities.
Yes, we can build bunk beds and we can,
Fuck yeah, I'm glad you got that. All right, this guy gets it a little bit. Shit.
There's one thing, because I know we're talking about a lot of things here, but like just try to talk about the event center here, and I'm just trying to like kind of express what I'm other like things I'm hearing in the communication. I think you're doing a really good job at like addressing them and just like in a calm, rational manner without the craziness that
Try
is
to.
the public engagement.
yeah.
But anyway, another question I want to ask about is just the rushed aspect of it with the WHL. People are, I'm kind of someone who kind of believes this, so that it's being rushed like with like a sense of urgency that might not be needed. Although we do need the events, and we do need an event center, in my opinion. Do we need it this quickly?
So that's a great question, and I can't really answer that. Do I think we're being rushed? No. Do I think information is coming out slowly? Yes. Do I pressure the city to get it out faster? Yes. So this project is not perfect in any sense. I believe it's more perfect than not perfect, if that makes sense. That's why I'm voting yes. So I don't think this is rushed. The people who say it's rushed are, again, those people who are jumping on the bandwagon of what the owner of the Kootenay Ice are saying, that are staying there next year. That again is their point to fight it. Anything they can do, they'll fight it because that's their job. Their job is to make sure this thing doesn't happen. So yes, that's a point that someone can make, that we're rushing this, but I don't think we have. It was adopted in our strategic plan from City Council. It's been on their agenda. This has been a topic in Nanaimo for 10 years plus.
Yeah.
It's been a topic that's been talked about. The studies are done. It's not like we're now waiting here for our phase 2 study.
Yeah, it's not like something that's just like showing up automatically.
Yeah, all the studies
the
are
government bureaucracy is a giant kind of waste of money. I do agree with that. Just having lived in Nanaimo, moving back to Nanaimo, shit needs to get done here, and the best way to do that is to spend a bunch of money and give people jobs.
Yes. So
the biggest concern is that the money is not spent incompetently.
Yes.
Right.
So the only reason why I would say if it was rushed is if these studies were not done. And we're now less than a month away, and we're still waiting for the, whatever plans to come out. The phase 2 plan. Do I think the business plan took too long to come out? Absolutely. And we pressure the city, hurry up, get it out. Finally, it is out now. So people will get a chance to read the 58 pages if they want to, or just take the simple parts out of it. But no, I don't think this project's rushed. It's been talked about in Nanaimo for 10 plus years now. The studies are all done. I'd rather this be, let's get it over and done with now to see what our future step is, whether it's, okay, let's start Watchdog in this event center, or what are we doing next to make the Nanaimo move forward.
Well, what is the counter proposed project, right? There's a no camp. Is this just a no, let's keep doing the same thing we're doing in Nanaimo and hope it gets better?
Yes, I think every no voter is different. I've asked that question. So what are you against the idea of an event center? Are you against the idea of it being taxpayer funded? If we vote no, what is our solution afterwards? We all know something's got to be done. And every answer is different. And the no vote, I don't think, has a concise answer of what their plan is afterwards. And
I don't watch hockey. I don't really watch hockey. The last time I really tuned in and was excited about a hockey game was when we did the Olympic hockey and we watched the women just trounce the American women, and they're fucking crying, getting their silver medal. I was the best.
Yeah.
And then I tuned into that men's game, got up at 6 a.m. and got just hammered and had to take a nap by 10 o'clock watching. But that
was all of us.
Hockey is the least important thing on my mind from what is going on here, right? Although I am a big, I made the Field of Dreams joke earlier, but you'd pointed out that even if they don't, the Kootenay team doesn't want to move here, that the chances for a team wanting to just even create itself here would be fairly high. So the concept of if you build it, they will come. As I said, there's a lot of. I hope you didn't kill our live stream. Let's just make sure that you didn't fuck everything right up. I'm gonna double check this, but I'm a proponent of if you build it, they will come. Public works projects are one of the best ways to jumpstart a community, right? So it sounds like there's been a lot of consideration for everything else that is going on in the neighborhood.
There was a lot of pullback when they decided to build the Nanaimo Aquatic Center. Do we need a second pool? Why do we need that? Again, that's infrastructure for our community to grow. The Nanaimo Aquatic Center is now the #1 used recreation facility in Nanaimo. And again, it was people who fought that, who said we didn't need it, but now it's the #1 used recreation facility.
People were bitching on Rant and Rave
yes.
that it was not open until noon on Family Day.
Yeah.
They're like, your stupid holiday,
yeah.
right? And then you don't even open the aquatic center until noon. I wanted to swim with my family. Yeah. So the thing that people weren't sure about, now they are. Now that is up in that college area there, and I admit that I don't head up that way as much. It is kind of nice. And you want the college kids to have the pool and stuff like that. It is like even all those apartment buildings, even the gaudily built ones, whoever did that fucking postmodern Art Deco bullshit named all of the quadrants after islands, those are much nicer than what used to be all through that area. You kind of feel like you can walk through Harewood till much later at night now than you used to be able to. It's nice, and that's a draw to our college people. Like I'm proud to tell people that I went to Vancouver Island University, and it's gotten even nicer since then, right?
Yep.
And people who see that you graduated from there are like, oh, okay, nice. Yeah, they know where you're talking about, and they don't. It's not like you went to I don't know, Sprott-Shaw or some shit like that. They understand where you're talking about, right? And I mean other graduates.
You don't like the jingle? Sprott-Shaw Community College.
Yeah, I know. And do we? what sort of college sports teams do we have with our college? Right, I'm not even sure.
Yeah, so we this upcoming year we now have the Mariners hockey program, which is starting. We have a fantastic volleyball program, basketball program up at VIU. You know, sports is huge at the university level.
Yeah.
We just don't get the chance to hold those big tournaments yet. You know, we are holding some at the university level up there, and tournaments are allowed to be held off of campus, just so everyone knows.
So there's going to be a lot of synergy, a lot of cooperation.
Yeah, so I spoke with
college.
the school district of 35, which is of Langley. I spoke
Yeah.
to the university there as well and said, how do you guys use this facility, the Langley Event Center, and is it worth it? Both said they use it for tournaments, provincial games, you know, etc. They use it for graduation ceremonies, and both of them answered that yes, the event center is a huge thing for our city and for the district or university.
I mean, because we are trying to build a world-class university here, and it is lacking a large sports complex that they can utilize. They do have the aquatic complex now across from them, where you could. Can we train Olympic athletes in that aquatic complex? I'm not sure. I haven't really been inside. I don't know what sort of pools they have there.
You can train them, but they're not Olympic size.
Okay. So, and then has people taken into account what if we can train for Olympic events in this event center?
Yeah. Yeah, so all those things are taken into consideration. That's why we say build it now, build it right.
Yeah.
You know, it's not build it now, fix it later. As some
Yeah.
projects happen in the city of Nanaimo, it's build it now, build it right. And as we alluded to earlier on, that this Yes Committee will turn into the Watchdog Committee afterwards to make sure this thing is done right. And we would love, if on March 11th that we vote yes, that some of the no guys jump on this Watchdog Committee, because we
Yeah.
all have the same purpose now. You know, we all want to move to Nanaimo forward. We're not going to be the bitch and complain committee. That's
Yeah.
not what it's for. It's the Watchdog Committee to make sure the Nanaimo staff and the Nanaimo Council is keeping to everything they said.
And a lot of people don't, red tape can cost money, right? Like every day that a construction crew is sitting, Zoom booms rented on sites, hose not moving because something's been fucked up and something is not moving forward. And then union guys, you send them home and shit like that after a day. If the whole crew shows up in the morning and then you have to send them home, you still have to pay them a few hours.
Yep.
There's a couple thousand, $20,000 fuck up because a bunch of guys weren't able to go to work, probably more than that for the amount of workers and stuff. So you don't want this bureaucracy that would hold this sort of thing up. You want it to go well and move forward and that sort of thing. I mean, I definitely I can see why there's a beyond the Yes Committee. I think I'm more behind this than I was before, having talked to somebody about this, and especially with the conjunction with the college, because that is a world-class university. When I was going there when I was 18 and stuff like that, when I was still Massapequa, they were talking about trying to be a world-class institution for their culinary program,
Yeah.
for the people that come out of their marine biology research and stuff like that. And so having that well-rounded by being able to train world-class athletes there, maybe be able to follow up with a sports science center or something like that, because if you have a world-class event center there with athletes, it wouldn't be long before the university would want to do.
Yeah, and our city is moving forward in that direction. And just speaking about sports just for a moment, because I think all of us can sit here now and realize that sports can save lives. Sports can create togetherness and want and yada, yada, yada. The city of Nanaimo has put a proposal together to buy land from the district and, this Roxham Stadium, that area, to make sure it continues to be those areas of sports, to continue structuring to be a baseball association ran thing, So again, we all know sports can help someone, it can help someone get through tough times. It can help someone, continue their life and get out of, make sure they're not going into trouble, And so I think, again, that's a huge thing for this center is it's going to be a lot of minor sports inside there as well. There's going to be community skates going on inside there, whether it's lacrosse, hockey, curling, whether it's jiu-jitsu going on inside that center now. There'll be community meeting rooms you can rent out in that center as well. There'll be the walking trail up there as well, so we can look at these big ideas.
The walking trail?
There'll be a walking trail around the event center inside it.
Is it going to link to any of the other parks and trails in Nanaimo?
Well, I mean, the center will link, but it won't be like it's a walking trail inside the center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you mean. You mean the walking track. The walking
sorry,
track.
Yes. Yeah, I can say a trail. It sounds outside.
Yeah, that did confuse me.
Yeah, there will be a link toward the waterfront, though, from the event center. So you will be able to now walk from the event center right down to the waterfront.
And not get mugged?
Hopefully not.
No.
That's our plan. Our plan is to revitalize the downtown area.
No, I know, and it does sound like a good plan. I'm a lot more behind this than I was at first. You see that picture online, and you're like, "What the fuck are they building? Are they building a cabin with a lawn on top? Who's mowing this lawn?
Yeah.
Are we gonna put goats on this
roof.
lawn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I watch them just get fucking swooped by eagles.
Yeah.
Have you seen? They just knock them off that fucking tall roof, and then just pick them apart in the parking lot and shit. Oh, it'd be.
Another goat drop last week here in Nanaimo.
Oh, geez, maybe we could
Breaking
attract
news.
a Comic-Con, hey? Maybe
You could.
You know,
Yeah.
that would
You
be nice.
could.
We could get a fucking Comic-Con here.
Yep.
We could get
Or a
some
nice
cosplayers
cannabis
from
festival.
yeah, you know, like they're gonna let us fucking spark up in their brand new community.
I don't know about
center.
spark up inside.
You can't
but
do it at a festival.
You cannot stop the cannabis people. We are very counterculture. You see, every time they arrest us, we just grow twice as much weed, and then we smoke it twice as fast in front of them, right?
Maybe there's a good ventilation system or something.
Yeah, you know, maybe
know?
we'll make tents like ET style fucking
Yeah.
tents, and you can just go in there and do the dabs. So maybe it'll be an edibles only festival.
Hey, there you go.
Right.
I got ideas.
Yeah.
That's how ideas come forth.
Giant
And
bake
Oh, yes.
festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll call it baked baking or some shit like that. Right.
I think that's already a thing.
Yeah.
Baked edibles.
No, I mean it
It's
is, but we'll
advertising
just
for
have
baked.
one where people just
Advertising
fucking
for baked.
inside. But I mean, like, it would be nice to get to because I mean, I confess, for being as nerdy as I am, I've never got to go to a Comic-Con or whatever. This goes back to my my abhorrence of traveling to large cities full of assholes. Right.
I think they do like a smaller version one of it. And then
Victoria.
Like yeah.
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 Well, I mean, like, what is our population? If we were to take fucking 60 minutes a driving reference, what is our population in 60 minutes worth of driving? Because I would drive
Yeah,
60 minutes.
roughly 300,000.
Roughly 300,000 people.
Yeah.
And what that compares us to cities of what size with a population like that? Victoria.
Yep. So
Yeah.
Victoria's roughly that size. So Nanaimo, as the 2016 census says, we're roughly about 100,000 people now in the city of Nanaimo. And then you look at areas such as like Port Alberni, Campbell River, Comox, Parksville, Ladysmith. You know, those areas, and that kind of start number to 314,000 or whatever it might be
Yeah.
within the city. And then our big benefit is going to be this fast foot ferry, hopefully. You know, so people in the downtown
Fast
Vancouver.
Foot Ferry.
Yeah, it's the one where you just walk on ferry. You go from downtown Nanaimo to downtown Vancouver,
Oh.
which has finally been
See,
approved.
every time
and-
I hear fast ferry in a sentence together, it makes me have nightmares of other fast ferry
but
boondoggles.
that's a private thing, so we don't
it's a
got to worry about that
private
as a city property taxpayer. We don't got to
should
worry
talk
about
to them
that.
about branding
You know?
or something like that, and call it, I don't know, the fucking hasty boat or some shit.
You know, so that will help benefit because maybe someone
Yeah.
from downtown Vancouver is going to hop on board and come see a show in Nanaimo or a game or whatever it might be. So these are just, again, additive bonuses
Yeah.
to this event center. There's a new hotel rendering for Front Street that potentially, you know, is not for the event center, but again, will benefit from the event center.
Oh no, it's all
Off-growth
interconnected,
from-
right? It's
yeah.
all interconnected, right?
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
you're going to see community spirit. You guys go down this weekend to Rogers Hometown Hockey. You see the kids zip lining down there for charity. You see the outdoor hockey
Yeah,
rink.
that is an
You-
interesting concept.
You see all of that. That's what we need in Nanaimo every December. A winter market where we have
Yeah.
food trucks down there. We have vendors selling things. We've got the outdoor hockey rink. We've got the zip line for charity.
We've got our Dragon
We've
Boat
got-
Festival and everything like that, and that park gets packed.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
right along the waterfront. So it would be nice.
Hey, and we all still live after, right?
Yeah,
You know, we
said
park
there's-
somewhere else. We
Well, no,
find
you said
places
there's
to
gonna be
park.
walking
Nobody went
distance and
bankrupt.
everything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we could start to do overflow with some of these festivals
Yes.
and have carnival and such going on over at the event
Yes.
center, and
So
stuff
it's
and
worth
spread
the
it
walk.
out
Yes.
through town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
So these are things that are all great ideas, and these are things that, again, we're going to make sure that are happening. We're going to make sure when the event center, if the event center gets approval on March the 11th to vote yes, we're going to make sure these things are happening. So people aren't worried or scared to walk 10 minutes in downtown Nanaimo anymore. Again, I think the parking issue is not a big issue. I think it's something that we still have to look at because
Of
it
course.
is a question people are raising. But there are private ventures who might be out there who are going to build the parkades.
There's a
There
lot
are
of people with
parking-
green initiatives
Oh,
who
yeah.
already do share a ride and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Take
you
more
know?
buses. Let's improve our transit system as well while we're on
our
the
transit
topic.
system. Maybe we could start talking about some sort of light rail transit.
You
from,
know?
yeah.
Yeah, so there's so many different ideas that can come out of just the event center or
Monorail.
something downtown Nanaimo.
What's that noise? Monorail. I've built monorails in Ogdenville, North Haverbrook.
I mean, personally, I think we need a rail system on the island.
Yeah.
I'd love to take
Yeah,
a
that-
decently priced, train from Nanaimo to Victoria.
I
Yeah.
would love to do one that had like a dining car and
Yes.
shit like that, and there was like an actual tour that that took you from the bottom of the island up to the top at certain
Yeah.
times of day and allowed you to eat
Yeah.
and be entertained and everything like that. Like, I worked in the hospitality industry. I graduated from the culinary arts program. We do graduate world-class cooks along here, right? You could almost do the equivalent of a river cruise,
Yeah.
but with a rail system on the island, even over a couple of days, where you took people from Victoria up and up and up the island and stopped for the evening at a preordained hotel, and then they got out in that town
Yeah.
and did their thing, and then went out to these and hit some of these small communities up and do a week-long rail trip, and then zip back down an alternate line or something like that, or hit it on the way back as well, or get off up there and take a boat back and complete it, the loop with a ferry, where then people take a week going up by rail and 2 days going back by ferry.
See, to me, that sounds like a great idea, fantastic idea. And this is where I come to the conclusion that that's a great idea. It's a fantastic idea. You're going to get someone who says no. I've
course.
realized I could probably give every single person in Nanaimo $100, and someone's going to complain.
Oh yeah.
So that's all? Or, whoa, what do you mean? What are you doing? Why is that person getting $100? They're not the same as me. Someone's always going to complain,
You're never gonna have.
You're never going to have
consensus
consensus of 100%. Oh, yes.
Here's
let's
how
do
dirty
this.
politics are. Themistocles saved Athens from the Persians, and then they voted him out for 10 years through political corruption and fraud, because they had a thing where they would do a vote if you, in case they were worried people gained too much political power, and vote you out. So, I mean, politics and city politics has always been a very dirty pool back, 2,000 odd years. You're always going to get people who aren't happy by people who are trying to do things in places, right?
So we're going to talk just briefly on the finances of this campaign, because there's been a lot of speculation that this Yes campaign is financed by the city, and that there are city members and city councilors sitting
A lot of people have been saying
on
that.
the committee.
Did you get your
So-
nice salmon shirt from Kickbacks?
From Kickbacks. How'd you know? Just kidding.
Yeah.
No, my mom bought it for, I think, Christmas. Yes.
Oh, nice,
Yes.
nice. Oh, your mom's going to be very proud to see you wearing
Yes,
your
she
lovely
is.
salmon shirt.
So the city, the financing. So we're an official, sponsored group through Elections BC, whichever group has to be if they want to put signs up and whatnot. We are a committee that have 14 people right now. All citizens of Nanaimo, ranging from ages like myself at 21, right until one gentleman is 69 years old. So a wide variety of citizens, business owners. There is no city councilor on this committee. There has no city staff member on this committee. No city staff member, city councilor has met with the entire committee ever before. The finances are coming from donations from community members. From, again, Nanaimo, there has been no donations or funding from the city of Nanaimo. We're using no taxpayer dollars to fund these signs. Our campaign so far has cost us over $2,000 for the signs and for the websites and whatnot. Again, has all been funded by donations and whatnot. So I want to really put it out there that this campaign has $0 from the city of Nanaimo. This campaign has 0 staff members. This campaign has 0 city councilors sitting on it. Just because certain city councilors, whether it be Councillor Beswick, Councillor Kipp, Fuller, Brennan, whomever it is, whether they support yes or no, does not mean they're sitting on a committee.
Yeah.
We have
Important to note that,
not
too.
met with any city councilor.
It's very important. to note that.
I honestly don't have a problem with public officials
Neither.
coming out on sides of things. This is why I
Yep.
like Donald Trump so much,
Yep.
and it shocked the shit out of people because he says things and then does them. It's weird, but to put it into perspective, $2,000 that buys you one plate at a Trudeau dinner.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, so
shit.
I'm within that. I like when councilors come out in support or not in support. Most councilors have.
Yeah.
Most councilors have. But I'm just letting everyone know that no councilor or city staff member sits on this team. It was our own graphic designer who made these signs. It was our own hard dollars that donated towards these signs to make sure they go up. I was the one who was again out last night at Rona putting that sign back up because it got knocked down, and I am not a handyman by any means.
Yeah.
My shoulder still hurts from hammering it back in. So it's not like the city staff are
do some
going out at 2
reps,
a.m, fixing our signs
Yeah.
for us. It doesn't work like that. It is
Volunteer
again
time.
volunteer time.
Well, I mean, who doesn't want to see their city revitalized? Like, after I graduated from culinary arts here, the only reason I ended up having to go up north and stuff like that was due to a lack of good jobs. And I didn't even go up north and end up working in culinary arts because there was just like a lack of culture and good jobs and shit. Acme was one of the better restaurants in town, and it is a smoldering wreck. And I quit working there because of how just sanitary it was when it was owned when I worked there. If anybody needs to put that into perspective, I am 33 and I worked there when I was 20. Okay, you can figure out who owned it then. But
Yeah, puts it all in public.
public
knowledge.
So it's important to see that there's a group of people out here who are committed with their own time and money to make Nanaimo a place where you want to be. If you're not growing as a city, as a community, you're kind of stagnating. Like, people don't like the capitalist idea of continuous growth, right? But it's continuous growth that this might get a little off topic. That's gonna drive us forward up to the point where we're like fucking in spaceships and mining our asteroids and shit. You can't just sit around and
Yes.
fucking stagnate right? You need to build your cities up. And Nanaimo is a great place. I don't think people don't refer to it to the city as the city with no pity anymore. Now it's just the city with no downtown.
Yeah.
Right? So
So we need to do something.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I think yes and no can agree with that. And the yes side, I believe the event center is one step in the right direction. It's not the step, as I've said before, but it's a step in the right direction. And furthermore, from the event center, we want to push for more affordable housing. We want to push for those things. I had a comment the other day, someone who said that I'm a spoiled brat who has rich parents. And that's the only reason why. So to clarify that, my parents are not rich. I lived in low-income housing for most of my career, for most of my youth and most of my childhood. I went to John Barsby School. Kids Sport in Nanaimo was what helped me put me through sports. It was not the funds from my mom and dad. Mom and dad split up at a very young age. My dad still lives in Scotland. My mom lives here. So to debunk that comment, there is no way, that I'm a spoiled kid with rich parents. Everything I have, I feel like I've earned and I've worked for it with the support of my community and my family. I just want to make that very clear that I know what it's like to live in low-income housing, affordability, to go, my mom was on welfare for a bit, to use Kids Sport in Nanaimo, to hit up the food bank as well. I'm fortunate enough nowadays I don't have to do that, because I built myself up to have my own career now, but I do know the feelings of that, and again, the sense of not belonging.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's unfortunate too that you even have to bring that up.
Yes.
That people are using that type of class warfare as a way to discredit you. It's definitely ridiculous. Just focus on the issues.
Well, no, the people
shouldn't even factor into it.
I've noticed that specifically socialists and stuff, they see a person who wants to make money in their life and wants to be successful, right? Because and like I said, I'm a capitalist. I used to have socialist leanings when I was younger. I was very confused. It was weird. I had a brain disease. Right? When they see a person who's trying to, they just want to grab them by the ankles and trip them.
Yes.
Right, because they're trying. That goes back to my my communist Olympics joke, where we all walk at the same speed,
yeah.
patting each other on the back. Right, and so when you try and get ahead and you want to improve, because there was online I saw the other day, in 1945, Canada had 60 less taxes, one of the most prosperous countries on the earth, and now we've had government policies that try to tax us into prosperity, right? But we need to be building up our community, because when you spend money, the other shit falls into place. I had somebody comment here about worrying about that the housing market would increase to the point like Greater Vancouver, but we do not quite have the space restrictions yet that Vancouver does, where we are having to build up and up and up. Nanaimo can keep growing out and fill in some of these gaps between these communities that we want to draw on,
yes.
right, to come into Nanaimo, right? We do want to grow, and we would actually probably alleviate some of the housing in Greater Vancouver by making this a place where people can come and do business and everything.
And that's
like
why
that.
we're building it downtown as well, because there is a commercial aspect to it, there is a residential aspect to it, and there's an industrial aspect to it.
I mean, right now we'll only get The Walking Dead filming in downtown.
Exactly, yes. So you have to have all those three aspects to make a community successful. And that's why we're doing it in downtown, because, again, it's the heart of Nanaimo. It's got the commercial aspect to it. It's got the residential aspect to it. Both of them can continue to build more. At the same time, it's got the industrial aspect to it to, again, move Nanaimo forward.
Yeah. No, so I think I'm pretty firmly there. So what is the qualification to vote here? I've moved back to town in September, right? I rent a house here. I live here with roommates.
Have you lived in BC for 6 months?
I lived in Dawson Creek for 3 years.
Yeah, so as long as you are a Canadian citizen,
okay,
you've lived in BC for the last 6 months.
There goes the Liberal voter base.
Lived in BC the last 6 months, and you've lived in Nanaimo for the past 30 days.
Yep.
Then you're good to vote. You just bring 2 pieces of ID, just like you're going down to the bar.
Bring them where?
Bring them to a voting location. So if you want to vote early, March 1st and 8th at the Vancouver Conference Center, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then there is a slew.
Which conference center? I didn't quite catch
Vancouver Island.
Okay, Vancouver Island Conference Center.
Yeah.
And where's that located?
Just downtown.
Just downtown?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
The big conference center down there where Sears Coffee's.
Are you guys got some money for signs out to tell us where to go, or there'll be a?
There are signs out now. They're not going to tell you where to go, because there are a lot of places to go on March the 11th.
Not funded by the city of Nanaimo.
Yes. There are sponsored ads going on Facebook from both sides, letting everyone where to vote.
Okay.
There are several locations on March the 11th. There's a lot. The university's got a location. You got different schools like Georgia Avenue School's got a location. I think Oliver Woods is one of them.
There's actually an open house happening tonight in Harewood. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there's an open house tonight, which I really encourage everyone to go to at the Harewood Activity Center. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. That's where you can ask any question you want, learn some information. There will be, I know the no vote people cannot be inside, but they have been, so far at every location handing out information why people should vote no, which is awesome. It's let them do it as long as they're being respectful.
I should ask, and I know, I'm not asking for a direct response or anything because but that was actually a sensitive topic. I remember when I went to a previous open house at the Vancouver Island Conference Center where they were frustrated that they didn't have an actual presence at the actual open house. I'm sure you've been asked this before. Yep. So how would you respond to that?
Yes. So at the time when council was voting on that motion, that is when the death threat came in.
Oh, okay, I understand.
That is when the negativity from both sides was happening.
Right.
Very negative comments, vulgar language, threats, RSMP were involved. At that point, I can't speak for council why they voted, but at that point, I don't think it was safe to have a yes side inside the center and a no side.
So it was council's decision
yes,
that they're the ones
council
who
voted on it to not have it happen. That being said, though, the no side have been at every single location, the first people you see.
It smells like environmentalists are funding the no side.
Hey, maybe. I don't know who their donors are, but
stinks like Greenpeace.
I have
deplatforming.
I don't know. I have good friends on the no side. I also have good friends on the yes side. So that's why
friends. Shit.
Yes, unfortunately, fortunately for them. But anyway, I have to I've been kind of sitting outside of this one, just kind of sitting on the fence because realistically, I'm really happy either way. Although I do really see the necessity to have an arena. Or an event center, downtown.
So you won't be stepping on either side until the election? Voting, sorry?
This discussion we've had this afternoon has actually given me a lot more clarity. I've actually got more clarity talking to you this afternoon than I did going to the event center over the open houses and whatnot.
We have found, and I'm not saying every single person I've talked to has changed their mind or made up their mind. I'm not saying that in any way. I'm saying probably 95% that I've talked to have made their decision, to me anyways, that they will be voting yes after conversation. I was really excited yesterday. We went to the CHLY show, Sense of Justice, with Ray. She was a big, hard no voter, and she said it right from the beginning. And an hour into the conversation, hour 15, she came out saying, I am now voting yes. I have learned information I did not know before. And that's all our job is. We are who's campaigning pays property tax. We have one of our members on our team who pays, I think it's like $250,000 a year with all his companies, who pays property tax. You think he wants it raised? Heck no.
Yeah, well,
I hear you on that.
He does not want his property taxes raised.
Well, I'm hoping to buy a house in Nanaimo eventually,
yes.
right? Having moved back down here, and I'm highly opposed to government waste. I mean, I, to my shame, voted for that Liberal government because I thought they would legalize the weed because I didn't want to lose my job in the oil patch from legal weed.
Yeah.
And instead, they have dragged their feet on that. They shit on the economy so bad that me and a bunch of friends lost our jobs anyways. And then they made a bunch of firearms accessories that people I know may or may not own, highly illegal. Right, so I said now I'm a paperwork criminal as well as criminal for smoking the weed, and here I am working in the marijuana industry now. So I'd like to buy a house in Nanaimo one day, and it would be nice to have I was apprehensive about this because I've seen so many boondoggle, God, I love that word, with some other areas and other event centers, and then not representing to the people, like putting something on a deadline for something like the Olympics, and was retarded with some certain things and stuff like that. So it's important to hear that there's that it sounds like there's people trying to do this right, and Nanaimo does need to grow. I think that this will help finish off what the college has started up there in Harewood. Right, because it's going to connect these areas and bring people through it. I mean, it's just amazing what VIU has done to that area in the 10 years and stuff. And
they're still building. They got a $40 million project happening next year, I believe it is, with their nursing program.
Well, I remember going to meetings there and stuff like that, where they talked about their plans for the future for the college, and it was a lot about making that area better and becoming world renowned and making Nanaimo. So we want to be famous or known around the world for more than just fucking bars with custard in them and a nice chocolatey coating on a cookie.
Good Nanaimo bar.
Oh, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? But we need to, I think that's important. I think that we will get some community identity out of that for sure. Where I was apprehensive before, I think I'm definitely going to actually make an effort to show up for this vote and vote yes.
Awesome.
I think this is going to be good for the community and stuff like that. Now, remember, if there's any voting with legal cannabis, you should probably show up and support us back.
Absolutely.
Right?
I've always been one since day one. I mean, I don't myself smoke marijuana. I have best friends who
You should
do.
start.
I have parents, a parent who does. I
Send them down here.
You know, I have my sisters who are in town who do.
Oh, how old's your sister?
24.
Oh, is she cute? No, set her on down.
That's another topic. Anyways, but you know, I've always
Card-carrying Conservative Party of Canada member.
Yeah, I support it.
His sister is? Or
Anyway, let the man talk.
I support you know, legalization of cannabis. You know, I watched Dana Larson all of his conversation. I watched him run for the NDP party back, you know, when he was doing it, whatever, 5 years ago, whatever it was. You know, and I supported him, and I watched him when he came in, you know, to the island and did his speeches and whatnot. Not saying I'm an NDP member at all, but I supported, you know, him and what he was trying to do and everything. So I definitely follow the conversation. I definitely support the conversation, and then any rallies or petitions or anything, I always try and attend them and sign them and whatnot, because I do support the legalization of cannabis.
nice.
Awesome,
Yes,
that's
well,
great news.
we think that it's going to really help community tax-wise and everything. That's why
I think
we've got all
it's
of
going
our
to help the city of
radical
Nanaimo. I
community.
mean,
Yeah.
if they format it the proper way
Yeah.
and frame
Yeah.
it and look at it the right way.
So I'm going to give away this gram of Nukin by Everlasting Estrax. I'd like somebody to private
nice.
message me. Private message me the name of a Roman emperor who used a public works project to, you know.
That's a fair question.
That is, yes.
Yeah. If the first person to private message me the name of any a Wikipedia link would be preferable.
Tyson, what's your name on Facebook?
My name is Tyson Ricard. It's my name. I don't hide behind bullshit names and stuff like that. Right? It's my face. I used to have an owl.
Well, yeah,
and
no,
a cute little
you're
hat.
talking to the public.
Oh,
so they
yeah,
gotta know where to
message.
private
It's
message
Tyson
you. Like, who
Ricard.
the fuck's Tyson?
Tyson Ricard on Facebook. You'll see I'm bearded. I'm wearing glasses. Right, and then I'll accept your private message request, and yeah, I'll take any Wikipedia link to any Roman emperor who used a public works project to try and jumpstart the economy.
So prior to us closing up, as it sounds like we're wrapping
Yeah.
up, I want to know, just because, you know, I have obviously different people who don't know what this this thing is here, what you guys' goals and aspirations are with this building. You know, it's obviously the old Patricia Hotel. You know, kind of just, you know, explain to me, you know, kind of what's going on, how can we support, and, you know.
Gentrification is what's going on. That's the name of our game. Just like Richard Scott, the boss financier, patron, all of that. He is also looking to take care of the travelers down in Ladysmith. His whole game is to try and buy heritage buildings, ones that have been eyesores to communities, ones that have been problem buildings, right? And then he opens up areas. We've tried a couple of different business models in different areas. Usually they're related to cannabis. Like what we've got going on here is we call ourselves Studio 420 when we are operating our dab bar and the radio show and everything in here. But we've also got the South Island Community Event Center, or South End Community Event Center. I think it's one or the other, that tries to hold some all ages shows where we clean up all of the cannabis stuff and take it off site. And then there's going to be security guards at the door, and it'll be like 16 to whatever ages coming in for those events.
Like
and
a
stuff.
community venue,
Yeah,
basically.
We've had bands that rent out here and stuff like that. But what we're trying to provide here is a safe place for people from this area to be able to just come in. They can bring their weed from the Green Mile, which is just up over there. But,
Yeah.
you know, just down from the McDonald's, there's 3 cannabis dispensaries in a row, or our cannabis dispensary, and come here. We have the first 4 weeks is free membership, but we're trying to get like a $30 a month membership fee for people just to keep the lights on, because we have it's a private members club. We like to use speakeasies as a reference, because technically what we're doing with the smoking of the weed is a form of civil disobedience, right? And like I said, one of the things we try and do is clean up the areas we're in. Like this building was the Cobra Lounge strip club. Purple Cobras, right? And there's just like the most heinous bathroom back there. I imagine some stripper just down on her luck. It's like, oh, this Cobra Lounge touring stripper goes back there, and he's just like, I'm gotta go home and rethink my fucking life
Wow.
for having been in that bathroom. But we're gonna tidy this area. We've got vans for it. I've got we've got less people just using our parking lot to do drugs and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, look at how it started with the Globe and how it was changed from like the Globe Hotel with the liquor license. So all those noise complaints was located right downtown Nanaimo. They took it over. They took out the liquor license and made it into a
don't allow
cannabis
you to come on site
dispensary.
if you smell like liquor.
And they have a restaurant down there too. So it's like a separate
The Joint.
thing. But the point being is that the noise complaints disappeared. Any issues, and I'm a drinker. I'm a frequenter of the downtown Nanaimo scene or whatever. And the fact of the matter is that liquor problems and cannabis problems are kind of different. And I think that the city should embrace it. And kind of let it grow a little bit, because I think the cannabis issues, like, I mean, we're talking about regulation and bylaws and land use, etc. Those are pretty cool problems to have, considering like a year or 10 years ago, it'd be about like, going to jail for doing
just
the exact
I mean,
same thing.
as a non-weed smoker and just kind of sitting here for the past hour and a bit now and seeing people walk in and there's no fear that I sense here or feel, or as I do when I was assistant manager of a nightclub in some senses.
Yeah.
It's a relaxed environment, it's a safe environment. I think what you guys are doing here is awesome. And I think it's only going to go up, and not just in here, but also, like I said, the outside community as well. The area is getting cleaned up outside.
Yeah.
I wasn't scared to pull in and run over a needle when I parked in here to
Yeah.
come to the show, like, it's
Well, and
awesome.
we're looking to we got some. We're in talks with the Harlan Fairbanks people to get a Slurpee style machine in there to start doing Italian sodas with their. It can be virgin or infused with cannabis based on a syrup pump and stuff like that, and do some more in here. I want to get a mini donut baking oven, because you combine weed Slurpees with mini donuts, and then people are at your mercy.
Yeah.
Right at that point in time, it is.
So is there any plans for the hotel?
If I showed you back there, the only things that we could do is rent it out to film horror movies in, sort of thing. I mean, I think the boss would like to buy this building. If we can make it a viable business entity, there have been discussions. I'd love to. Me and Greg would like to get an isolation tank and stuff like that. If we could in the back, I would love to rent time on one of those. And because that's a really cool trip. Right. So we are trying to make it nice. I've got. Slowly cleaning up the garbage around the outside, but right now it's the dab bar. You can smoke joints in here during the day. I got this screen up here that we just play random cartoons and music videos off the internet on, and have music going and stuff like that. And then I got other people that just randomly pop in. Like, we hope to eventually get like a studio audience or participation beyond the group that I had here.
We had some people watching earlier.
Oh
People are coming in and checking out what's going on.
Yeah. No,
Plus, on a Wednesday or a Thursday afternoon or whatever today is, people probably have stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I see people still haven't still caught on to the contest. Remember, that's again, message me with a name of a Roman emperor who did a public works project, and you will win a gram of Nukin.
Once again, I said this yesterday, and again, I'm just poking fun here, but I feel like once again I'm in a Saturday Night Live skit.
Tyson Ricard.
Like, it's
Facebook.
like we could become it could become like the
RICARD. No, if people are gonna win fucking extracts from me, they're gonna educate themselves a little bit.
That's fair.
God
I mean,
damn
I'm
it.
not complaining. I'm just making a humorous observation that like
Cannabis activist. Go read about Rome a little bit. We still model our
here's how we,
civilization on it.
we come up with the most randomest, but just random factual questions.
Well, no, I think that
for
it's
every
important that
cover.
people
It's-
look back and they see that how long people have been doing things like this in
Yes.
order to stimulate
Yep.
local economies,
Absolutely.
all the way back to the time we were city-states. Right? To the point where actually there was a Roman law that said that if you try and act and live like Romans, then we'll let you join the Roman Empire and we will send our army to protect you. So there was cities that were afraid of things like invasion from Persians or freaking Hannibal and shit like that. And they built bathhouses and coliseums. And then Rome was like, fuck, you have bathhouses, coliseums, you wear togas, here's some legions.
Yeah.
And they sent guys over there from the Roman and to hang out because they took the time to build up their infrastructure and made it a prosperous city and stuff like that. It wasn't until a bunch of bureaucracy shit all over their empire, right? So, learn. The more you know. I want to get one of those fucking signs. The more you know. I'm gonna
Exactly. Yes.
I'm gonna message this to the group. I don't know how many are. Let's see who messages me back. Or wait, I might have got some private messages through here.
So we can just quickly chat. There are an information session coming up tonight at the Heriot Activity Center, which is 6
I
to
got
8
it.
p.m.
I got it here. It was Jason. Jason was the first person to message me privately with the name of a Roman emperor.
All right.
He's given me a couple. Okay, he said Claudius, world's earliest sewer system. Nice, Emperor Claudius.
good, awesome, congratulations.
Yes, nice. Okay, so Jason, if you
I
come
didn't know
down
that.
to 525 Halliburton Street, the more you know. See,
Yes.
we all just learned something
Yeah.
today, right? Claudius, world's earliest sewer system, and that was important, right? Because it helped sweep disease away. It helped not take hold, right? So I wonder if he built that, if the aqueduct came before or after the sewer system. I'm going to have to go and look that up for my own knowledge, right? Because now I'm wondering, because there's actually still cisterns beneath the city of Rome, which if the aqueducts were coming into them would filter water. These cisterns have circles of concentric sizes going in and out with openings, which cause the current to flow in such a way that it drops sediment out of them, right? And it's because the aqueducts were open, so these open aqueducts would flow in, and then this would, any leaves or debris, bird shit, whatever, would be washed out in these cisterns, and clean water would flow into the cities.
Yeah.
Right, and they still work today. So Claudius and the sewer systems has one. Jason Elias, his gram of Nukin, and he can come down and collect that at 525
Congratulations.
Halliburton
So-
Street.
So speaking of that event center,
Yeah.
sorry to go back to that really quickly. It's just I actually have to we have to sign off here pretty quickly. So I'm sure we both have to go prepare and
classy.
to go to that. But yeah, why don't you promote that? And,
Yeah,
say
so
what's going on?
biggest thing for me is obviously I am supporting the Yes. In the past hour and a little bit, we've mentioned why I'm on the Yes team, and then hopefully afterwards the Watchdog team to make sure it's done properly. But tonight at the Hayward Activity Center, 6 to 8 p.m. Is information session about the event center, and I encourage everyone to get down there and ask questions and see some information and take some away. Visit us on Facebook. You can search to vote Yes for Nanaimo Event Center. I think actually it's just Yes for Nanaimo Event Center. If you want to search No Guys, search No Guys as well. I think they're No Event Center in Nanaimo. Keep engaged, keep informed, keep the dialogue respectful. I respect everyone's opinions and thoughts as long as they're respectful and they're not harming anyone or bullying or shaming or threatening. Biggest thing is March 11th, we're making one of the biggest decisions the citizens of Nanaimo have made in a long time, maybe even ever, for the borrowing of $80 million for Nanaimo Event Center. So make sure you're informed, and make sure you're making, the vote that you want to make after you've done your research and got your information, whether from an information session, messaging me to go have coffee, listen to a forum like this, try and stay away from Facebook on your informed questions.
Ryan Gowan, you
Absolutely.
just missed out to Jason Ellis, but I'll feed you some dabs if you come down. I do apologize, buddy. He had just beat you out when I was checking on my messages, but Ryan Gowan and Jason Ellis were the two people who actually knew something about Rome. So
they didn't win the contest.
Well, Jason won,
Okay.
but I'll buy.
That sucks.
It's Ray. Sorry, it's Ray Gowan. My bad. I'll buy Ray some consolation dabs when he stops on by. Ray posts some really interesting stuff on my
Cool.
Facebook all the time. So I would hope that after the vote or whatever, you'll come back and
Absolutely.
we can maybe talk a bit more just about that. Or I'm sure that the event center is not going to be the only thing that we'll see you active in over the next couple of years. in
Hopefully
such a
not.
community, right? So thank you.
Thank you,
We're
guys.
good. Yeah, thank you for coming.
Yes.
Awesome. And thank you everybody who tuned into the podcast. And we'll be putting a cut version of this out on the YouTubes on our Studio 420 YouTube page and such. So stay tuned for future podcasts. Awesome. Boom.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, that was good. I enjoy these kind of conversations, these dialogues.
Yeah, they're fun.
I think they help everyone out.
Oh, absolutely.
People get. Well, will you be the session tonight?
Oh yeah, I'll be there tonight.
I'll see you there, then I'll be there. Oh, yes. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thanks again, man.
Enjoy if there's sunshine still out. Is the door locked now? Or am I stupid? Maybe I'm stuck here. Maybe I can't vote anymore.
I think it's you just